Hello there, my little chickens. How are we all? I'm very well, thank you for asking, etc., etc., etc. Yes, a bit earlier than usual, but there you go. It's what it is, people. Yeah, we're meeting a little bit earlier today. We're going to be with No Justice for the first hour to finish off last night's question time that we didn't finish, and then I'll be on with Christy for the happy hour, which will be fun. We'll see.
Hello.
Wagwan brethrens.
Me bread bins. Let me.
How are you?
I slept a lot. It was good. I think I was catching up.
Well, that's
after.
Yes. Well, you've been travelling. It's fine. Yes.
Yeah. It's actually much further than you think, because Vegas is all the way other side of the US.
Yeah,
And
they should move. Well,
especially.
Yeah, go on. Sorry.
Because the side of the US that it's on, the world isn't like the Mercator map projection. So when you fly direct to the United States, you fly over Greenland, right? Because it's the curvature of the Earth. So the fact that Nevada is in the bottom corner makes it like the furthest away you could possibly go without going to California.
True. This is very correct. But this is why I've said before, we need to reject modernity, embrace tradition, and bring those continents much closer together like they used to be. Scotland and Canada used to be basically the same landmass several billion years ago. So why can't we do that again?
So for some reason, when I tried to load up Streamlabs, that stopped the audio coming through. I missed what you just said there.
I was doing a stupid joke about how the continents used to be joined, and we should go back to that.
Panacea. That's not Panacea. Pangea. That's
Pangea. Yes, Pangea would be a panacea though. So game, set, and match or something. I don't fucking know. Anyway, yes, this is where we left off. Apparently, this is where it loaded up automatically. So I assume this is how far we got.
We were at the question about with such a paucity of
free marketplace of ideas, something. Yeah,
dumbest question ever heard.
Yeah, but the answers might be fun or not. I don't fucking care. Anyway, yes, give us both money. We got out of bed early today.
Place of ideas, either.
Okay. Can we go back to the start of the question?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think you're not far off. Here he is. Here's our man.
Oh, there you are.
The attractive chap over here.
Yes, absolutely. As you describe yourself. Well done, sir.
Yes, self-described. How should serious voters respond to the shallow marketplace of ideas facing Scottish voters ahead of next year's Holyrood elections?
Well, shallow marketplace of ideas, either.
I mean, shall I bother doing my Charles Clarke joke that I fucked up last night? I don't know. Not worth it, really.
Okay, Leslie, kick us off.
I don't actually disagree with you in many ways there. I mean, I was listening to what Anas was saying there about, the health boards, for example. I mean, it's absolutely true. When we got devolution, there was a promise made that a Scottish Parliament would result in a more decentralised Scotland, and it didn't happen because the quangos that should have been bonfired weren't bonfired. We also have the least locally controlled country practically in the world, with the exception of North Korea. We have enormous councils. We're in 5-1 council. It used to have 87 councils. Now, what that means...
Yeah, but who's got no more nuclear weapons? North Korea or Scotland?
I mean, at time of recording, that's what the independence is for, right?
I'd like to know from Anas, for example, would anybody, and if we're talking about the paucity of big ideas...
That's what they've not thought about, right? They say they want to get rid of the nuclear weapons. No. Go the opposite way with it. Keep them all, and then when England says, no, they're ours, you go, I dare you to come and take them. We've got nuclear weapons and you haven't.
Literally.
I'll fucking glass Leeds, you prick. Like, you know what I mean?
Invade Barrow to take over BAE Systems.
Exactly, yeah. Easy.
We get to even a European average so that people have real control over real places. So St Andrews, for example, famous across the world, doesn't have the power in this town to change the colour of its drain pipes. That's how we have not managed to decentralise Scotland. So yes, I'd like to hear that kind of discussion. I'd like to hear a discussion about energy.
And that Star Wars confused face is very funny. If he cuts back to him, he looks like a little child. It's brilliant.
All I can think of is that bit from Four Lions where he's just like, I just took a picture of me face and it's defo not me confused face.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. You just tomatoed a special needs donkey.
We've got currently pylons all over the north of Scotland. My family come from there. I'm a huge supporter of green energy. But we currently have 113% wind renewables in our mix in Scotland. We can't currently export more to the south. So why are we ending up with this level of pylons? We have got a big subsea connector coming in. Are we simply here to produce...
Fuck me. Is it just... is this entire country just so obsessed with fucking pylons? I've got pylons near my house. You know what I do? I just fucking ignore them. They're just there. You know what I do enjoy? Lighting. And fucking heating in my house. Watching the television. Whatever. Like...
What if your pylon, your share of the pylons are slightly higher than another part of the country's? Oh no!
Yeah, I think Birmingham has more massive rats and pylons per square inch than any other city in the country.
And you know
Fact.
what? Just fucking ignore both of them.
Yeah, we've got more canals and massive rats and pylons than Venice. Did you know that?
I did not know that.
Actually, that must be true on literally all counts. Yeah.
Cheap green energy to let England get to net zero without any hardware?
So if you think
I would like to know about these things.
Okay, and if you think there's a paucity of ideas, or you're agreeing it's a shallow marketplace as you're putting it, Ivor, do you think none of the parties have got the answers then?
I don't think we're discussing these things. I mean, you know I'm a big supporter of independence, and I'd like to see the SNP definitely lead on that, because where reform are picking up, I think, is that people are in despair. There is no aspiration, hope, bright light at the end of the tunnel. It needs to be fleshed out a lot, but people need to think that we're not sitting in a country that's...
There's definitely a joke in there somewhere about there's a bright light at the end of the tunnel, but because it's Britain, you can guarantee it's not a fucking train!
I mean, unfortunately, probably won't be a light once we get the 3-day weeks from net stupid zero.
True!
Has been marketised to death, where there are better examples pretty much all around us. They need to think we're able to grasp some of those possibilities and discuss them.
Thomas, do you think reform is guilty of a shallow marketplace of ideas?
Well, no, I think we're the new kids on the block shaking up the system, which is why we're sitting at this table now.
You're a Tory!
But I actually agree with the end of what Leslie said there, which is...
You were literally a Conservative member. What the fuck are you talking about, new kids on the block? You were all fucking Tories who got disillusioned. Understandably, but let's not pretend you're fucking revolutionaries or something.
No, exactly. It's like the same fucking reheated Thatcherism all over again.
Yeah. Look, we're shaking up the system by allowing billionaires to dodge tax.
Wow, it's never before seen.
Wow, that's what a revolutionary change from literally every government of the last 40 years.
Exactly.
So in despair at the state of our politics. We took 20 minutes to start talking about Brexit and independence in this debate, and you wonder why Scottish politics seems to be stuck in some sort of Groundhog Day. That's why. We're not focusing on the big issues that matter. We're not speaking about business. We're not...
Reform, are you really going to criticise other people for talking about Brexit too much? You are. You cunts are going to take that line with us, are you? Like, it's between you and the Lib Dems who's got the biggest Brexit Tourette's situation between you. From completely opposite sides, to be fair. But, like, come on now. Behave yourself. Like, you've literally got... Your party is led by Mr. Brexit. Shut the fuck up.
And the thing is, he keeps banging on about, oh, well, we did Brexit, we didn't do the right Brexit, we're going to re-Brexit all over again. And I'm just like, fuck off, shut up.
Maybe that's what we get. We get him on board, right? We say we'll rejoin the EU, and then we can Brexit a second time, and we do it properly, and then just not do that bit.
Yeah.
Be fine.
We're not speaking about taxation, we're not talking about education, we're not talking about the health service, we're not talking about big reforms. Instead, what we're actually doing is talking about past constitutional debates that have taken place and just tickering around the edges of what really has to happen to transform Scotland. Look, we have a record level of drug deaths in Scotland, and there is a bill in the Scottish Parliament right now called the Right to Recovery Bill, which is still sitting waiting to get passed because the SNP have not went ahead to push it. But they're happy to constantly... Well, it's not... But it doesn't. Well, you could take it on. The government could have took that bill on. The government could have took that bill on. The government could have took
in,
the
and
government.
he's running out of time.
And you could have took.
Almost
You could
like
have
he
took that
didn't
bill
care
on.
and actually was more interested.
Okay,
I'm
well,
not here to defend.
So hang on. So he's such a revolutionary that his challenge is, why not take on this Conservative Party piece of legislation? That's your brand new idea, is it? The thing that the Tories did a year ago, apparently. Brilliant. Honestly, I mean, man the barricades, comrade. Yeah.
The Conservatives, look, what I am here to say is that you could have took that bill on and you didn't. Instead, you are debating independence and Brexit once again. And when you ask why people are so scunnered and fed up, that is why.
Well,
and the choice
Scunnered.
in Scotland next year, and as led to believe, is a new direction. It's not. Because fundamentally, Labour and the SNP, when you score away independence, are fundamentally the exact same party.
Well, let's
They're
talk
both
about
left-wing.
reform.
What the fuck are you talking about? Like, the SNP are, like, defying the ECHR and saying, no, fuck you, trans people can piss where they like. And Keir Starmer's quoting Enoch Powell. What the what world are you fucking living in where they're the same party? Like, they're both kind of soft capitalists or whatever, but, like, there are some pretty significant fucking differences. It's not just independence. That's
Like,
profoundly silly.
Literally, and it's just like they just because they're slightly to the left of like Attila the Hun,
Yeah.
this makes them the same party in this guy's eyes.
Yeah. Although, did you hear, having mentioned trans issues, did you see that the Indian Supreme Court have now outflanked the British government to the left?
I've not, but I'm not
Yeah.
surprised.
Yeah, they're now saying basically that trans people are what they say they are and are entitled to the dignity and legal respect as such. So literally, India, fucking Hindu nationalist India, has outflanked us to the left.
Oh, that was already the ruling in Pakistan as well.
Oh, God almighty. Oh, what are we then? The Maldives? Like, what are we as a nation now? How reactionary have we gotten?
Belarus levels.
Yeah, fucking hell.
Hang on.
same
You're here to talk about reform, or you're here to represent reform. Let's talk about reform. You say, we're talking about, Brexit and independence. We should talk about the big ideas. You listed education as one of them, for example. What is your policy on education?
So on education, we have to get back to localised education. We need to make sure...
What does that mean?
Well, right now in Scotland, we're talking about how we try and make sure we save...
Well, I don't know about Scotland, but like in England, literally the councils do that. So what's your plan there exactly? What, take it down to the street by street level? Like, how much more local are you going to be with it?
Literally, things are bad, but we need to do things better on a very, very micro level 1,000 different times when we've already proven in the short time where we've been in control of councils that we haven't got a fucking clue what we're doing.
Literally. Fucking literally, yeah.
Funding. We have 32 directors of education across the country who are all basically told what to do by central government. What exactly are these people doing? That's the point.
So what do you want to happen?
Well, so what we need to do is...
Why don't you know what they're doing? If it's such an important... They do... This is conservatism 101, right? Just say, well, what are they doing? Don't look into it. Don't search out what they're doing. It's with the Doge thing. Oh, I hazard a guess that these people aren't working, so we can just sack them, and then the system collapses because they didn't know it to begin with. What the fuck? Like, these people don't just exist for no fucking reason. Look, I'm not saying there are no people you can get rid of, but having standards across an entity like, say, a nation that are relatively consistent is probably a good idea. Otherwise, you end up with, like, weird, rotten borough fucking education systems which don't work. Because, unfortunately, some areas are run by wankers. That's just a fact. You should know you're in the Reform Party.
That's the thing about conservatives just broadly, right? Of course I think they're evil and I hate their ideology when I prima facie, right? But the worst, the most fucking infuriating thing about conservatives is their total lack of curiosity.
Yeah.
In anything. Anything at all. Like, you can guarantee... right? Every single conservative is the person who hears a word that they don't understand. And rather than just using Google like a fucking normal human being, I don't understand this concept. Let me look at the Wikipedia page for 5 minutes and then at least I have a basic understanding. They go, no, I've never heard of this, therefore it must be stupid, new, woke, commie, pinko, new age bullshit that I shouldn't need to understand because I wasn't taught it when I was at school back in the 1960s. Like, that is the quintessential conservative. It is this total lack of curiosity. I reckon things are bad. Do you know why it's bad? No, I've not looked. Why the fuck haven't you looked? You're a politician. It's your fucking job.
Well, James O'Brien is a freak and a gobshite, but He does do that one very good thing when someone rings in and goes, "Oh, I voted for Brexit because of the laws they passed," and he goes, "Which ones?"
Yeah.
Just ask them for a single law that the European Union passed that you don't like, and you'll find out they don't really have any reasons. They've just got a sort of general feeling that Europe is passing laws and I don't like them because bendy bananas something something.
Literally.
Load of rubbish. It's literally all feels.
Like, remember when libs of TikTok thought that, quote-unquote, the left had made up the term stochastic terrorism specifically to refer to her?
Yeah.
Because she never heard it before. Oh, it must be made up for me. No, it's just a term that exists that you've never heard of because you're a fucking moron.
Also, the mainest of main character syndromes on that. Hold on.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, we're making up special terms just for you. You twat.
We need to get back to talking about education properly. We need to get skills properly. And I already mentioned at the start about apprenticeships.
We need to get skills properly.
Brilliant.
What is that sentence? What policy platform are you trying to elucidate with the sentence, "We need to get skills properly"? You need to fucking learn to speak, you twat. If you get educated, I'll take you more seriously about talking about other people's education.
Well, if we're going to talk about things that unite the Lib Dems and the Reform Party, both of them are obsessed with Brexit, and also apparently skills wallets are back on the menu.
Skills wallets, let's go. Oh yes.
From academia, and we try and focus more on working class kids getting the skills and the education that they need through apprenticeships. So there's plays that we're trying to do there. I can give you my personal opinion, Fiona, but what I can say
I'm wondering
as well,
what Reform's position.
But that's what I'm going to say. What I can say is that by the time all these guys finally put their manifestos out, there will be a manifesto from Reform as well, and people can able to scrutinise.
Whoa, time out. You can't be like, by the time these dickheads get their manifesto out, we'll have done the same thing. Because you're basically saying they're lackadaisical, they don't care, they're taking too long over this, and then saying we are going to also take that long. Like, just really drill down into the thing he just said, and you find out he's a fucking moron. This man is very stupid.
Oh, well, I can really feel like the marketplace of ideas swelling right now.
The marketplace is overflowing with goods. Oh, it's amazing.
To quote a great man, I feel like my brain is in recovery mode because of these high-level important ideas.
It's true, honestly. Mr. Rubin has never been more correct about that. Although, to quote another great man, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. So, fact.
Scrutinise exactly what it is that we're going to say when it comes to education, when it comes to health, when it comes to taxation,
So when you
and that will be something that is not going to
So-
surprise anybody in this audience, but it will be real fundamental changes to get this country moving.
Just to be clear, and in fairness, Reform is a relatively new party, and your support is surging. I don't think there's any doubt about that here in Scotland and also across Great Britain. But when it comes,
I wonder if that could have anything to do with the free advertisement they get on your fucking radio and TV stations every day, all the time, relentlessly.
Actually, yeah.
Fuck me. Who's on TV more, Jonathan Ashworth or Reform candidates? Who knows?
Who knows?
you're criticising other parties for not having serious policies and big ideas. At the moment, Reform
I just
on a
gave
number
you,
of
I
policies
just
haven't
gave
got
you
those
some
either.
policies. I literally just mentioned how we have to move away from academia to focus more on skills and apprenticeship.
Okay.
I just
Education
mentioned
is
how
obviously a big
I just-
subject,
you know
it's not
what,
just
Paul,
apprenticeship.
You asked for a specific policy.
We hear this all the fucking time, right? We hear this all the time. Oh, we need to get away from academia, move towards skills. And I'm just like, well, academia, first of all, is a skill. And second of all, do you think the economy of tomorrow, like manufacturing, is just going to come back to this country, right?
Yeah.
It's so Trump-brained, right? It's just the left behind.
We're going to bring the jobs
mentality.
back. We're going to bring all the jobs back from China, and we're going to need so many miners and steel workers. We are honest. We are.
I think it's like, we do need more people in the trades. We need more people in construction. That's going to be a really important thing moving forward. And by all means, put funding into these things. But they fundamentally live in a world where they want to go back to the previous economic mix that is completely unfeasible given how strong our currency is. And these people in Reform are all rich because of our strong currency, because we're a financial centre. Because we're fucking wanker bankers and traders and property people.
Or this is why they like Liz Truss. Destroy the value of the currency, jobs come back. Now, living standards will crash through the floor, but let's not dwell on the details, okay?
When the reality is, these working class kids, they could get the either vocational or academic skills and qualifications they need to be able to be economically mobile in the new economy that's being created, right? When you want high tech manufacturing and things like that, which high value currency countries can do, or high quality manufacturing like the car industry, for example. Well, it's all mostly getting automated though, so it's mostly overseeing these things rather than actually doing the building. That's important. Like, sure, we can give these people the skills that they need, right? But that's going to involve two things. First of all, an education system that isn't fucking prohibitively expensive, which has deliberately shut working class people out of academia. And second of all, we're going to need to put any amount of fucking industrial strategy investment into these desolate areas that have been left to rot for 45 fucking years.
Yeah.
That's the problem, that people think that the manufacturing jobs were the good jobs. And I'm like, well, no, they were just the ones that had the industrial strategy behind them and were fucking unionized.
Yes.
Right? There's a reason why all of the jobs suck now. And it's not just because jobs have just gotten worse, even though for a lot of extents they have, but they've been allowed to get shit because of our lack of collective agreements. Because we had the union movement crashed.
Well, exactly. I was about to say, it's not that they've been allowed to get worse. They've been purposefully driven into that state by mass deunionisation. Yeah.
Exactly.
Policy, Fiona, and I gave you a policy. I can't sit here and give you an entire education policy. I'm happy to come here and do a big reform speech if that's what the BBC want me to do. But what I can do is give you specific individual policies where I can try and see that change. And when we come, can I finish, Leslie? When we come to the election next year, the same as every party on this panel, we will have a manifesto that the people of Scotland can scrutinise and can look at. I'm sure these guys will scrutinise it properly as well, and we can have a proper debate about how we try and transform.
Right, the best countries in the world, Finland, Estonia, they're top of the PISA charts, right? What have they got in common? They have very local control of everything, but they have kindergarten to the age of 6 and 7. And that lets kids have...
they've both got fucking mental languages that don't make any sense. Just really long words, unnecessary.
Finland banned private schools.
That's also fucking badass.
I just want to follow up on the point I was making about industrial strategy and like reindustrialization before, which is the I forgot what I was going to say. Sorry.
Okay, industrial strategy, the union jobs, something. No?
Oh, there was going to be something about bringing manufacturing jobs back, but I've forgotten what it was now.
Yeah.
Have a really good start. In fact, in the world, 82% of countries...
So another country that's really rich is Denmark, right? It's a rich country with high levels of taxation and high levels of public ownership. Weird how that tends to have a really good country, but whatever. The thing where they have a lot of manufacturing still in the country, but they're not building fucking widgets like in China, right? The biggest manufacturing company in Denmark is fucking Novo Nordisk. Right? Do you think that people with apprenticeships are getting jobs at Novo Nordisk? No, it's people with degrees. It's people who are trained in the pharmaceutical industry that are getting jobs at Novo Nordisk, right? If you want working class people to get good, high quality manufacturing jobs, you need to give them fucking degrees.
Yeah.
Not just give them the kind of qualifications we expected to bring these people out of poverty in the 1960s.
Send their kids to school at 6 and 7, not 4 and 5. We're practically unique, weirdly, with the Netherlands and the other countries that used to be part of the British Empire in deciding that 4 and 5 is okay. The best way to change education in Britain is to get with it and change that start in life to give kids really the best start, which is to let them be kids until 6 or 7. Would you do that?
Well, it's something we could look at in the manifesto.
No, you need to be much harsher on children. A good beating until they learn. It's the only answer. I mean, look, some people have suggested electric shock collars. I think that's too much. I'm a liberal, okay? I'm suggesting just physical assault. That is a joke, Twitch. Please do not ban me.
So this is the point, Leslie. You have just put on a policy idea that we are happy to look at and to evaluate properly. But when we have a manifesto, because
this is out there.
I mean, to be fair, reform is a...
Hang on. Leslie, you made your point. Let him answer.
Reform is a new political party. We're happy to look at ideas that come forward. I've got a record as a councillor in Glasgow for the past 8 years where I have looked at stuff to do with...
Not the last 6 months, though, mate. We learned all about that. You haven't had many ideas at all in the last 6 months. It's almost like you switched your mind off when you joined Reform. Imagine that. Imagine being more active when you were a Tory. Good Lord. Oh. Grim.
early years and try to make sure that it's more outside based with the limited powers that we have in councils. If you look at in my ward, there's a fantastic nursery that's outdoors in the park. So there's areas like that I have got a record on, but we're happy to look at that.
Okay, let's hear a bit from our audience. Man in the blue shirt at the back.
Just continuing on that point, how it's maybe not the most interesting election coming up, can the panellists give us something really interesting and creative, give us some hope, give us some ideas that will change our society?
Interesting.
I genuinely want Anna Sawa to answer that question and be like, you know, like what's it literally? He would be his like skipping through a field of corn moment, because he's so devoid of any hope or ideas. I can't think of a less inspiring human being in British politics, other than maybe like Pat McFadden or something.
He's going to say something like, well, we're going to be headquartering GB Energy in Scotland. That's going to create all of these green jobs, even though it has 0 jobs in it so far.
Yeah, mad.
Creative, right? I'm going to come back to that. Let me hear a bit more. Man in the black and white shirt, then.
I think for me the biggest issue is that everyone's just kind of arguing. There's no actual ideas. What are you hoping to do? It's just, oh, we don't like the SNP, we don't like Labour. You're asking us to vote for you, but you don't really tell us what you want to do. You just tell us what you don't want everyone else to do. So so coming from what the gentleman behind us said, can you just tell us what you're going to do without telling me everyone else what everyone else shouldn't do? Just tell you what you're going to do.
All right. Well, listen, let's go around.
I mean, okay, I get what you mean, but like, if you think someone's doing something wrong, why would the politician not criticise that person for doing something wrong?
Exactly.
It's
100%.
a bit. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it's just a bit silly, really.
I'll come to you in a minute, Anna. So, Shirley-Ann, something interesting, creative, I think you said at the back there.
Well, I think this ties into a point that we were discussing earlier on in the programme about a compassionate society, about the society should be there and we should be supporting each other through that. Now, we had that discussion about social security, but there are other aspects on that as well. And I think that is...
I am saying that Andrew Bowie, or whatever his fucking name is more inspiring than Nana Sawa. He inspires hatred, but that is inspiration. Whereas Anasawa is just like a blank canvas of nothing.
Honestly, like the 6-chip twat tweet is, quite honestly, that is more important to British politics than Anasawa's career.
Literally, Anasawa will die and the 6-chip twat moment will live.
Yeah.
Okay? Fact.
Different within the SNP than it is elsewhere. We may have thought previously it used to be what Labour were like. I would suggest not so much now. But that, I think, it talks to the principles and the values that you should be looking for. You're quite right to look for and challenge politicians to have that. That's exactly the type of society we would then base the different types of policies on. So you have those values of a compassionate society. Leslie, I think it was Leslie talked about hope. Hope is an exceptionally important thing that we are lacking in as a society. And I won't make any apologies for talking about Brexit, because Brexit has had and has wiped out billions of pounds from our economy. So I think we should be pointing that out and recognising that if we're looking at something that is, yes, it's different now because other parties have walked away from it. I believe we should be in the European Union. I believe we made a fundamental mistake and we should actually look to join the European Union.
All right, let me bring in other people. So, Andrew.
One of the biggest rounds of applause of the evening.
I mean, Scotland did vote overwhelmingly to stay in the EU.
Yeah.
Okay. It's an independent country, and you're looking for a big idea, and an idea that actually now I think has got its time about compassionate and learning the lessons from the past when we were made big promises that have failed since Brexit.
Right.
Then, of course, it's independence.
Andrew, so look, listen, this is a challenge. Come on, let's do it. Something interesting and creative.
Well, what's quite interesting, radical and creative, is actually the fact that I actually agree with Leslie on this idea, which is possibly a first. I do think that we need to have a radical look at how we deliver education in Scotland. I think that looking to how the Nordic countries deliver that is something. We also have been quite radical in our proposal to let children, let young people,
The Nordic countries got rid of private schools, at least Finland did. And you guys were fucking moaning and pissing and shitting and crying over a very, very small tax, not increase, but actually making a private institution
closing a
eligible
tax
for private
loophole.
Tax. Yeah, literally closing a tax loophole on the poshest, richest, most fucking cosseted slugs in the fucking country, right?
Well, literally, like when I think like one school closed in like Northamptonshire or some shit like that, and they were whinging about this in Parliament, and I just had to say, I'm like, good, no good. That is 100 less or fewer sociopaths that have been created each year. Good. Each kid not educated in one of these fucking psychopath academies. And that's all they are. They create the likes of, David Cameron and George Osborne. That is the kind of monstrous evil they inculcate in the minds of these very, very vulnerable young people, okay? That's the people who get created in these places. So the fewer of them, the better for everybody.
Yep.
Including those individuals, because they're not happy. They're all psychopaths who've been fucking sexually abused by the cousin of the nephew of the Sultan of Brunei or something, right? They're all fucking awful. It's not a happy existence, it's soulless, and then they die. So, you know what? Let them go to a normal school. Let them play football and be normal and happy. Instead of having to be the phrase that gets used is the F-bomb, and I can't really use that. But basically the personal manservant / cock sleeve for a slightly older rich sociopath. That's what happens in these places. It's fucking evil. It's child abuse at best.
Leave school at an earlier stage if they want to get an apprenticeship or a school and get ahead in life, if academia is not for them. And it does depress me that there is not more hope and optimism around in our political debate, specifically in Scotland, where we seem to keep getting dragged back to constitutional divisions of...
You want, sorry?
Pacifically,
yes. Yeah. He's taking transatlanticism to a new level.
10 years ago or 12 years ago, which I do genuinely believe were put to bed. We need to look forward, and we need to build a better future for this country, I believe, within the United Kingdom. But yes, we need real devolution in Scotland. We need to see power devolved from Edinburgh, where it's been hoarded since 1999, to communities. And I think a radical shake-up of how we deliver education in Scotland is what this country, the people of this country, absolutely need.
See, when Tories talk about devolution of power, they don't mean it in some like cool-based kind of anarchist way. They mean balkanising the power that exists within the populace to such a small degree that companies can chew up the individual communities in a way that they can't with, say, like the nationalised health service.
Exactly.
That's what they mean. That it's divide and conquer, but under the guise of being democratic.
And you can do it as like a cover for cuts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, it doesn't matter that you're getting less of your council block grant. You've got the freedom. You have the freedom to look around and do what you want with your money, which means the freedom to cut.
Yeah.
Anna, I'm going to ask you to be relatively brief because I want to try and get one more question.
It's a really important question, and next year's election has to be about big fundamental choices. So we have to reform our NHS, reduce the bureaucracy, have greater use of technology and proper workforce planning to make it fit for the future. We have
Pablum. Absolute, just generic bullshit.
I'm gonna be the man that does the change, and that's the change I'll bring about.
Yeah, we're gonna do some good things and not do bad things. Vote for me. How inspiring, Anas. Really? Could you stop? I might actually ejaculate if you carry on.
to change our education system where pupils and teachers can feel safe. So that means banning mobile phones in the classroom, teaching entrepreneurial skills and teaching digital skills in the classroom. You haven't done it.
Inspiring. We're going to ban mobile phones and do digital skills. A thing
mobile
that's happened
phones
since
are
I
already
was at
banned in
school.
every school.
Yeah.
90% of school already ban mobile phones. It was like, want to teach entrepreneurialism. What the fuck does that mean? What does that mean?
Teach them to fuck each other over. Basically, when you give kids knives and they can literally stab each other in the back. Who gives a fuck at this point?
Shirley Ann, you've done the opposite.
You can do that already.
That's what but you're not doing it just now. That's the exact point. But you're hiding behind head teachers. You didn't make a decision as a government yourself.
No, we're empowering them. We just asked us to empower people.
Further how we support business. We've got to reform our rate system to stop the rigging in favour of the online giants and reinvigorate the high streets instead. We've got to fix our planning system so we can attract investment here in Scotland.
Let's not do a whole long
energy,
list.
And in energy, people want big ideas. And in energy, we've got to end the ideological block on new nuclear energy and get billions of pounds of investment here, thousands of jobs, and delivering energy security.
Let me come back to you. Did you hear?
I am so inspired. I don't think I've ever felt more inspired. I'm like Van Gogh or some shit at this point. Like, I'm so inspired.
I don't disagree. I think the business rate system is shit, and it does favour big over small businesses, right? I think it is bad. But
Right, but it's like pen-pushing fucking bullshit. You ask for inspiration, which is like... I mean, you can do inspiration whilst also doing generic pablum, but he didn't even do that.
No, exactly. Like, reforming the business rate system is hardly, like, epochal change, is it? It's
yeah, we're going to support business. Oh, that's exactly what everyone wants, yeah.
Oh, wow, that is that's staunchly different to literally everything else we've ever had in the history of this country for the last 45 years, right?
Yeah.
God, won't some government stand up for business? Wow, it's been a real dearth of that.
Yeah.
Here's something that satisfied you on the interesting creative front.
No.
No. Okay.
Yeah, what a surprise. Yeah.
Let's squeeze in one more question. It's an important one. Gary Craig.
By dropping the F-bomb, has Donald Trump played a masterstroke and actually reduced tensions between Iran and Israel?
Right, so what Donald Trump...
That's a really stupid way of questioning. Like, you want to ask a question about Israel and Iran. Perfectly reasonable. An important ongoing issue, which, by the way, Israel are itching at the fucking scrote to try and break that ceasefire, obviously. Yeah, but to ask, by dropping an F-bomb, yeah, he swore. It was kind of funny. That's it. I mean, it's not a masterstroke of anything. He was just angry. So he said fuck. He said the word fucking. Oh.
That's the thing, right? Is that at no point is any of this some kind of ingenious ploy to try and foment peace in the Middle East, right? What it was very telling. It was very telling that Donald Trump's only kind of driving interest is, does this make me look good?
Yeah.
Does this fluff my ego? And watching not one but two international leaders essentially take him for a ride made him very angry. And so he's kind of accidentally oopsied himself into the right position because he doesn't like getting shown up by Netanyahu, right? Netanyahu wants to be able to control him because he controls every other American president, like he did fucking Genocide Joe. And Donald Trump pushing slightly back by going, no, I want to look good by being the man that stopped the war that I caused.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Why are you getting in the way, Bibby? That wasn't the plan.
Yeah. Whereas Israel just want to carry on. So they've gone back. It's been, like, the continuation of the horrificness in Gaza has shown one thing. They couldn't last more than a week fighting against an army that could actually hurt them back. They were able to get a few rockets through the fantastic Iron Dome, which is definitely flawless in every way, isn't it? Someone described it as the papier-mâché dome or something on the TV the other day. And they've been able to, kill a few Israelis and bomb a few places and bomb the Mossad headquarters in Tel Aviv. And they go, oh, fuck this. No, can we just go back to burning some fucking children alive, please? Like, it's pathetic. Honestly, they're the biggest paper tiger. They're the tiny little fucking horrible yappy dog that stands behind the massive fucking dog. And, like, you can't do anything because the massive dog's there. So the little tiny dog's yapping away. That's Israel. They're pathetic. Fucking embarrassing. Without America, they'd be fucking crushed.
So true, so true.
Trump said, brace yourselves, he said, we basically have two countries that have been fighting so long, Iran and Israel, and so hard that they don't know what I'm going to bottle it, they're doing. That's what he said.
Why bottle it? It's specifically in the question. Like, no, if this program goes out at 9 p.m. online and 10 p.m. whatever at 10:30 in the evening, it's past the watershed. We're all adults here, and it's the president of the United States you're quoting directly. Just say the word fuck.
I mean, the time I remember when Hugh Fernley Whittingstall of landed gentry fame was on Question Time, and he literally said the rivers are full of shit.
Yeah.
Because they are full of shit.
Exactly, yeah. If we can't talk honestly about this stuff, what's the fucking point?
I mean, literally, like, I don't know how you can look at the situation of the water industry in this country and not swear.
Yeah.
Like, how can you not? How can you not look at this? This is a fucking disgrace.
There's literal piss and shit in our waters. Donald Trump literally said they don't know what the fuck they're doing. It was a fantastic clip. What's his fucking name? The guy who came in third behind Mamdani and Cuomo, and they were
Brad Lander.
Brad Lander, and he was friends, obviously, and they endorsed each other and all the rest of it. And he literally said, what was it? Cuomo's not the present of New York, he's the past. Good fucking riddance.
Yeah.
Brilliant. He was fucking awesome. Yeah. Sometimes, just to put a little bit of extra punch into it, the odd swear word is not the end of the world. America is currently engaged in all manner of evil shit around the world. An F-bomb here or there isn't the biggest deal, is what I would suggest.
100%.
And it looked like the ceasefire wasn't going to happen. At the moment, the ceasefire is happening. So is that, in fact, a masterstroke, Andrew?
No.
Look, I think we all have to acknowledge the action of the United States over the past.
It's so annoying, right? Everyone, the media have done this for fucking years, and they don't seem to realise they're fueling it in the same way with Farage. There's no fucking 4D chess happening with Trump. He's just a limbic system reacting to stimulus. That's it. It's like saying an alligator played fucking 4D chess by eating a gazelle. No, it's what it does. That's just how it reacts to the situation. Donald Trump can be bought and fucking manipulated by someone calling him daddy. Like, you've just got to fluff him up and you can do whatever you like.
It's true. Until he realises he's been hoodwinked, and then he throws a temper tantrum.
Exactly, yeah, because he started a war because Netanyahu sort of tricked him into it, but he sort of wanted to do it because there's sort of war hawks around him, and then all of a sudden he realises, oh, I've been made to look an absolute wanker in front of the entire world, and he got angry. That's it. There's no 4D chess happening here. He got angry and he swore because he was angry, and then he went on a plane and fucked off to the Netherlands and got called daddy by the former leader of the Netherlands. Embarrassing.
I hate this planet, I hate this timeline.
It's so pathetic. Honest to God, Mark Rutte. If I were Mark Rutte, I would no longer be Mark Rutte. Is all I'll say.
Last week does seem to have led to a situation where we do have a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. We're very clear that Iran cannot be allowed to have a nuclear bomb. They have been a malign and destabilizing influence in that region and around.
Why not? Why aren't they allowed to have a bomb? Because there's one side in that conflict that does have a bomb. And it's Israel, isn't it?
Again, literally, every single time you've had a discussion about the fucking Iranian nuclear threat, it's been in the context of Israel, who've broken fucking international agreements so they have their own nukes. Everyone knows, no one admits. The BBC just goes, well, no one really knows if Israel has nukes. It's obvious they do. They keep admitting that they do. One guy in the Knesset said they bombed Gaza with a nuclear weapon.
Yeah, like, I've literally got a thing now. It's so regular. Like, whilst obviously you were away. It's big. I was sick of saying Israel has nuclear weapons, so I've now got a specific text thing on my OBS, which when they're talking about this and they're not mentioning Israel having nuclear weapons, my entire screen just says Israel has nuclear weapons. Because it's a very, very, very important part of the discussion that gets totally ignored, even by people like Piers Morgan, who knows it's true, because I've heard him fucking say it, and yet he then has Isaac Herzog on his show, and at no point goes, okay, I agree with you, Isaac Herzog, president of Israel, Iran shouldn't have a nuclear weapon. Why the fuck have you got dozens?
I know, right? It's crazy, isn't it?
I agree, the IAEA rules should matter to Iran. Absolutely. Why the fuck have you never had an IAEA inspector in any of your facilities? Simple. Simple question, absolutely pertinent to the point, and they never get talked about. It's fucking embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. It absolutely is embarrassing.
The world, a threat to British interests and the interests of our allies, and I think the action taken last week was proportionate and does seem to have the desired effect. However, I do genuinely believe we need to reinsert civil discourse into our public debate. I look at the degradation of the language that we use between each other and indeed in the public sphere when we're discussing politics and ideas in it, and it does depress me. So we need to, I think we all need to...
So, that would be interesting, considering you were part of the Tory party when Boris Johnson, he of, was it black postbox fame and tank top wearing bum boys was another phrase he used. Like, I don't know about you, I don't think you've got a leg to stand on in terms of coarsening discourse, my friend. Maybe wind your fucking neck in a bit.
I think he's still moulding about the 6-chip twat tweet.
That's fair.
The coarsening of the discourse is when I get mocked for my poor food choices on the internet.
Yeah. Well, it's not even poor food choices. It's putting it out there like it doesn't make you look like a 6-chip twat. Like, if you are a six-chip twat, fair enough. Like, I understand posh people exist. But if you flaunt it, people are going to call you that.
Yeah.
You know.
I like it when Donald Trump talks like that.
I don't think it's necessary, and I don't think that it's something that I would do. And I think we need to, across all of our democracies, relearn how to disagree agreeably. And that involves when we're discussing things as political adversaries, and indeed when we're discussing things as a general public.
A masterstroke, Anas.
Look, I don't often say this, but actually I think Donald Trump in that moment actually spoke for a lot of frustration many people felt across the globe. Because the fact of the matter is, Iran shouldn't have a nuclear weapon. We don't want a regional war, and escalation doesn't help anybody. And we can't forget the people of Gaza in this moment either, where we have to see an end to the illegal occupation, an end to West Bank.
And Sawa broke from party lines for the party that's funding the genocide in
I was
the
about to say, does someone want to lose the whip, Anas? Because that's the kind of anti-Semitism that gets you banned. Just saying, friend. Yeah, you're literally licking Keir Starmer's boots constantly, and he's the one who's literally sending refueling planes out to Israeli aircraft that bombed Tehran. We know that happened. You can turn off your transponder, but we know exactly where you're going. Was there any other reason you'd be flying over the deserts of Iraq? Interesting. Yeah, you're literally still selling them the parts. You're still doing the flights from RAF Akrotiri, although apparently they've stopped in the last few days. I'm not entirely sure why. They've just been circling over the Mediterranean rather than specifically going to Palestine, so I'm not sure what's happening. But yeah, so you're literally supporting it. The Labour Party are the ones doing the genocide right now.
They're training the IDF.
Yeah.
Of the population of Gaza.
And bizarrely, they're probably training them, at least in some of them, on Scottish bases. Naval forces would pretty much have to be on Scottish bases, because we don't really have anything in England. That's why all the nuclear bombs are in Scotland. Yeah.
Either can we let Hamas off the hook? Their actions on October the 7th were actions of a...
Pronounce it correctly. Hamas. Okay, you've got to say it ethnically, otherwise it doesn't sound scary enough.
Terrorist organisation, and we do need
coming
the
back
release
to Iran,
of hostages. But
coming back to Iran specifically, that's the question. Do you think that Donald Trump's action has actually made us safer? I mean,
I think
there's somewhat conflicting accounts about
whether...
How the fuck can his involvement in this possibly have made it safer? He sent American bombers to bomb Tehran, potentially starting World War III. How the fuck has that made anyone safer? At all? Like, even if the ceasefire holds, it still meant we were less safe then. The fact that we're now it's calmed down or whatever, it didn't make us any safer. Of course it fucking didn't.
Well, but it's less safe specifically because now Iran has no reason not to develop nuclear weapons.
Well, I've said this. It's not just Iran. I've said this for a while, but it's been heightened, I think, in recent times. The world convinced Muammar Gaddafi, the former leader of Libya, to give up his nuclear ambitions, and that was seen as like a big win for the Western cause, whatever, geopolitics. And then his corpse was dragged through the street and beaten with sticks. But 15 years later, there is a reason that the Kim family are still in power in North Korea. It's because they've got nuclear weapons. The West have made it guaranteed that every leader, including democratic leaders, because there's no compunction on America's part with overthrowing them if they get a bit too nationalisy. Everyone's interest now is get a nuclear weapon, otherwise the Americans can fuck with you. There's a reason they don't overthrow Pakistan and North Korea, because they've got nuclear weapons. There's a reason they don't want to get too involved with Russia. Like, they'll do some proxy shit in Ukraine and Georgia and wherever else, but they're not going to be sending fucking B-2 bombers to Moscow, because they've got nuclear weapons. So everyone's interest is get nuclear weapons, otherwise America can fuck with you. Embarrassing. That's why it's so pathetic that we're so cocked, because we could stand up to them, and we never will.
I actually think what happens next is more important, and that is diplomacy and de-escalation. But the reason why I think it's important to highlight... One second.
I think the government agree with the action, because Keir Starmer's been unable to say whether or not he agrees with the action taken by America last week.
Keir Starmer's taking the right approach, which is to prioritise peace, diplomacy, and de-escalation.
You agree or you disagree?
But I do want to make a broader
to disagree
point.
is a very principled position to hold, but we need to know whether or not the British government thinks it was the right thing or the wrong thing to do.
Look, I do want to make a broader...
And it's so annoying, because you know why he's saying that, but it's also true. Like, he's being disingenuous with it. He wants him to come out and say, I disagree, so he looks like a fucking pussy. That's what he wants him to do.
But we all know that they do agree.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
They do agree, because they were fucking blowing smoke
But
up his arse. The fact that the Attorney General said that it was illegal, and Keir Starmer was like, well, Donald Trump has taken action to quell the Iranian nuclear threat.
Yeah. But it's like, it's not that difficult to, look, not to focus too much on James O'Brien, but I did put out a video on him the other day, and he was really annoying. Look, he seemed genuinely offended that people would think that the Prime Minister should have an opinion. Like, I'm sorry, I don't think it's personally too much to ask the fucking leader of the country to have an opinion on something.
On the opinion on the fucking, on incredibly tense situations
Yeah.
in geopolitics, right?
Yeah. Look, if James O'Brien doesn't because he doesn't have access to the information and stuff, okay, fine, whatever. That's not the end of the world. But the Prime Minister has, like, the MI5 on the fucking speed dial. He can get information if he needs information. Jesus Christ. He can literally ring up Donald Trump and go and talk to him. I don't know why you'd want to. You're not going to get any accurate information, but you could do that. He can ring up Benjamin Netanyahu, same problem. But,
Broader point about the region and what's happening.
Question?
Well, I think Keir Starmer's taking the right approach, which is to prioritise peace, diplomacy, and de-escalation, because there might be warmongering from some. I don't think that is the right approach.
Okay, let me bring in the rest of the panel here. Otherwise, I won't get a chance to do that. We've not got that much time left. Shirley.
Well, I think what we've seen once again this week is exceptionally frightening for everyone, because what we've seen is further destabilisation in the Middle East and therefore the rest of the world. And my concern, yes, Trump may speak to frustration for himself and his government, but when you look at the longer term, I do fear that the lesson that Iran may have learned from this is the hardliners may learn that they need that bomb and they need it quicker.
Yep.
And I think that's always the fear when you actually see escalation, is actually what do people take from that, from the longer term, and the lessons they learn from that. So that's why it is very important to look at the aspects around peace and reconciliation. And I do think it is important, and we will, in this, I will agree and have some consensus with Anis here, because the other aspect that has gone down the headlines and gone away from the front pages is what's happening in Gaza. Children are dying. People are dying. There's a humanitarian crisis, and I'm afraid we're now talking about whether it's Trump's ego or his language.
Yeah,
and that's
they're literally doing flower genocide attacks every day.
Yep.
Flower massacres every fucking day. Another 20 here, 30 there, 50 there. Fucking awful shit.
Yeah, evil.
Yeah. We're being joined by another American. Hello there, Christy Winters.
Hello, Christy. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Who's the other American? Or is that
Helena just got back from Las Vegas, and she said "y'all" yesterday, which like is. I'm genuinely considering taking the passport away because it's not fair.
I have to say I generally don't use the term "y'all" except for like when I play D&D and my party as a group decides to do something kind of ridiculous or stupid. I'm like y'all.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that tone of like judgment. But yeah, it's sometimes actually. Like it's grown on me because I saw a toilet, and when it was like
You saw a toilet.
Toilets like the doors for toilet, and for one was women, one was men, and one was y'all.
Oh, okay, I'm with you. Okay.
Yeah, and I liked that a lot. I thought that was a good use of the term y'all. So, what awful political debate are we watching at the moment?
Before we move on, I would like to point out the best use I've seen of the word y'all is when I heard someone describe Republicans in the Deep South who are religious fundamentalists but hate like Islamic fundamentalists as y'all Qaeda.
Yeah,
That's pretty
yeah,
good. That's pretty good. Yeah. We're currently we're finishing off question time from last night because it was we got to about 1 a.m. and went literally tired. Let's go to bed. Yeah.
Like with lube or just
Jesus Christ, Christy. See, you bring in one of these cis women and they just start being disgusting. Unbelievable. I don't think cis women should be allowed in women's toilets. They can't be trusted.
So you're just wrapping it up here.
We are, yes.
Okay, yeah.
You stick
What's
around.
The topic? Yeah, go ahead. What's the topic?
The very, very uncontentious topic of Israel and Iran.
Oh, okay. Oh, can I just point something out that actually is, I think, heartens me a little bit about the situation, which is that Netanyahu obviously was starting a fight in order to, have a justification to attack Iran, and now he's managed to do what he wanted to. He's got his big bully friend to come in and come by and smash the sandcastles, as it were, on the beach. But Trump's now like, hey, there are no more sandcastles. I've done it. It's fixed. And it's clearly not.
No, obviously
right?
not. Yeah.
But Netanyahu now can't say that Trump fucked up.
Yeah.
So he's actually stuck in a position probably worse than he was before it, because before everyone knew that Iran had a nuke program, and now Netanyahu can't say they still have one because it'll make Donald Trump look bad.
Yeah. And they obviously would have moved a lot of that material anyway.
Yeah.
Because Israel was bombing them for days before America arrived, which is a bit of a tip-off that you might want to move some sensitive material,
Yeah. So I just like with a situation that Netanyahu's fucked himself over into.
Yeah.
And it just makes me smile.
Well, I mean, we were discussing before the fact that he's accidentally, Trump has fallen arse backwards into a better policy because of his own hubris. Right? Because he's very easy to flatter and to manipulate until it makes him look bad. And he was made to look a twat by Netanyahu fucking him over, which is why he's dropped an F-bomb and fucked off to the Netherlands to try and do a victory lap that no one believed in. But now he's at least maybe I need to actually restrain Israel a little bit, which, is better than it was.
Well, like I said, Netanyahu can't come to him to say, can you please do more bombing? Because as far as Trump is concerned, it's gone. It doesn't exist anymore. And
but in a post-truth, but it's such a post-truth world thing. Because, even his own intelligence people are like, no, I mean, we've set them back maybe a few months, but it's nothing that major. But he just goes, no, I don't fucking care. It's over. Done. Bye.
No, he can't. Netanyahu cannot do anything about the Iranian nuke program now for the rest of Donald Trump's term, because as far as Donald is concerned, they don't exist anymore.
Well, unless, let's say, a very convenient, quote-unquote, Iranian does a terrorist attack against an American facility of some kind. Perhaps.
Yeah,
that might.
See. I think I think Iran's just going to go under the radar, and then we're going to find out, in about a year's time, that they've conducted an underground test. And that'll be it. And there'll be a nuke power.
Do you remember though that the military excellent pilots of the American Air Force? They definitely 100% got rid of all of the uranium. How dare anyone besmirch their names by suggesting that they missed and that the Iranians had moved the enriched uranium out of those areas before America bombed them? How dare people from the press expect scrutiny of the government?
Yeah, exactly. And don't question him because he'll just call you fake news. And ban you from the White House.
Rubio, Donald Trump and Pete Hegseth at NATO, and it genuinely looked like the first day of standing lessons. They all stand so weird.
Well, did you see oh my God, when they were asked about Mark Rutte calling him daddy, and Trump tried to just sort of play it off, and literally behind him, Marco Rubio was giggling like a 12-year-old. It was. I just thought he's just a boy, isn't he? Really. Anyway, let's get through this, and then we can just move on to other things.
All I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do some editing. Let people join in your stream, and then I'll stream later on 10 p.m. something like that.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, you can stick with us. We've got something about we've got Christie's weirdness, and I've got a video about Sabrina Carpenter and Kink.
Nice.
Ooh.
That's not where all our attention should be. We should never forget the children.
I disagree with the idea that it's Trump's ego. I think one of the biggest threats to global stability is a nuclear Iran, and I think that what President...
Oh, really? The Reform guy's so far up... It's like a Russian nesting doll of arse licking, where he's licking Farage's arse, who's licking Trump's arse. It's a human centipede of wankers.
Who's licking Putin's ass.
True.
Trump done was necessary and needed. Do I like some of the language that President Trump used? Like, I've got a 2-year-old son. Would I like the Prime Minister to be swearing like that? Probably not.
I would. It would be the most interesting thing Keir Starmer's ever done. Imagine at the dispatch box and he just goes, "Shut the fuck up, Kemmer, you're a dickhead." That'd be amazing.
Honestly.
And the most truthful thing he's ever fucking said as well.
Donald Trump is like. It's why the American people have voted for him twice, because they like that sort of bombasticness, and it has
hang on. Do you not accept that he won in 2020? Surely they voted for him thrice. Oh.
As we sit here now, there is a ceasefire
No.
between Iran and Israel.
Love it.
So I think that, is it a masterstroke? Yes, because it's managed to work. And I think that is just part of the diplomacy
Is
that
that how
comes
it
with
works?
Donald Trump. And it's part of what the West just has to
What
kind of
worked?
deal with. It's not about his ego. It's about...
Yeah, like when you smash a football into your own bollocks and it goes in.
Yeah.
That's exactly the plan you had because it worked, so it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, they dropped bombs on the targets that they aimed for, but did they accomplish the thing that they set out to do?
Yeah, like the only people who were successful were the bombers who did the thing they were told to do, but the thing they were told to do didn't work.
I mean, it was a lot of it. Let's face it, a lot of it was down to gravity.
Yeah, exactly. Gravity was the big winner in all of this. Yeah, that is true. Which is surprising because I thought gravity was Hamas, so I don't know what to believe anymore.
No, gravity isn't Hamas because that's why they fly in the microlights.
True.
In Doncaster.
About him doing what he genuinely thinks is right, and I think that the attack that he had to do in Iran was necessary.
Has it worked, Leslie?
No, I'm going to disagree with everybody here. I mean, what's happened yesterday is that the Iranian parliament decided to pull out of the nuclear watchdog. They are now voting, they probably have passed, leaving the non-proliferation treaty, which they were part of, which was one of the ways that sort of eyes were kept on what was going on nuclear-wise in Iran. Just by the by, Israel's not a signatory to the non-proliferation treaty and won't actually declare whether it has nuclear weapons or not.
True.
It's thought they have 80 warheads, but it's different rules when it comes to Israel. So I think a lot of people...
So the one person...
Oh, she said the unsayable, chat. She said the unsayable.
The one thing that you're not allowed to say, she said it. Unbelievable. I mean, I can only imagine she's going to fall out of a window. Or drink some polonium or something, who knows.
And all the people who are applauding.
Yeah. R.I.P. to this woman for tomorrow.
Why now with that raid that Donald Trump mounted? Because it's not at all clear that there was any imminent threat. And so this idea of managing to produce a ceasefire, that is quite good going when it's your own actions that have produced the jeopardy that put that whole region into turmoil just by the...
That's the thing, if you start a war and you end a war, people just remember the ending bit. Peace! I'm a peacemaker, you see. I started a war and then I ended it. Brilliant.
The BBC Persian service reported yesterday 3 people had been executed in a clampdown. Not saying the Iranians are a cool regime, they're not. And what's happened now is it's made it more difficult for the opposition within Iran to say anything. So was that a bit of a result? I don't think so.
Man in the blue sweater with the glasses.
I think when we look at what happened in the last couple of days and what we've spoken about tonight is about the frustration of inaction. And it might not have been done in the right way or at the right time, but I think it's refreshing to see something move forward, to see action rather than the typical back and forth that's seen with diplomacy and just talking about it and talking about it.
Can you pause
the fact that action was taken.
Yeah, I prefer violence to reason.
Yes.
That's pretty much what I'm hearing from this dude. Like, I can't control my emotions, so I just hit things. Like, is that how you handle things at home? That you don't talk things out, you just resort to violence? I mean, this guy is sus. 100% for saying this.
Yeah.
It's had a result. Has made progress.
Man in the, you got a black jacket, I think, and blue shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, like, why is there so much little calling out of, Israel as such? Babies are starving, babies are being killed. Yeah. And again, like she said, Israel doesn't allow IAEA inspectors in to look at their things, so there is total blackout.
They don't even officially recognise that they have nuclear weapons, which is mental. Because,
everyone knows.
Everyone, it's literally the Emperor's new clothes. The entire world can see that Israel is bollock naked and is like, actually, no, your robes are of the finest quality, sir. Like, what the fuck? It's mad.
Of Israel, but we call out Iran, but we don't have the same stance for Israel, and we as a country are ignoring the plight of those little kids, basically. So,
well, certainly the situation with Israel and Gaza is something we discuss on this programme, and we have done it many times, and I'm sure we will do it again. But we are out of time to carry on.
Well, thank fuck for that. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Everyone go and follow No Justice MTG on all of the platforms.
Yeah.
Everyone go and follow Christy and Kev, and I will see. I'm going to raid you in, so you'll be able to
much love
enjoy their company for the next few hours.
Indeed.
I'll be back probably later on tonight for a YouTube stream, and I will catch up with everything that I've missed while I've been away.
Cool. Laters.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Hey, you did the thing. That's the thing. Yeah, I see what you've done.
Yeah.
Ah, Christy.
Kevin, it's another week gone by. It's another Friday.
Shall
You're
we?
awake this one.
I am. Hello, No Justice people. Shall I do the intro video?
Yeah.
Fuck yes. Okay, if I can find it. Bollocks, where is it?
Somewhere on your desktop.
Ladies and gentlemen,
it is. Oh, there it is.
We got him. Victory is ours.
It's Dr. Christy Winters is here. Yeah. How are you, Christy?
Yeah, it was a busy week.
Right.
Actually, the first part of the week was pretty exhausting, but today was better. So yeah, how about yourself? You got some much needed sleep last week.
I did, Christy. Yes, I got some sleep and because I'm an EP boy. I'm an EP boy.
What's an EP?
It's sleepy. It's just.
Oh, okay. I see. You just like being baby talk.
Yeah, God gives his softest of beds to his sleepiest of warriors, and I am definitely that. No, the thing is, right, because I'm a big fat cunt, I sleep really deeply now, like in a way that I didn't even used to. I've always been quite a deep sleeper, and apparently I snore a bit now. Anyway, and I just sleep through alarms.
Oh right, yeah.
So I do. It's not like I'm not planning ahead or you know. If I arrange with you to be here at a certain time, I set an alarm so I can do that, and then I just sleep straight through it and wake up at like fucking midnight. Because it's a wanker. So what I need. Well, this was never a problem with Rory Katz because he never let you fucking sleep too long. The little prick.
Yeah, because he needed to go out, or he wanted to be fed, or he just wanted your attention,
Indeed.
or just to be a dick.
Indeed.
I do see. My phone just told me that Gavin Newsom is suing Fox News for $787 million in defamation case over the Trump call. You want to hear this?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
The amount is nearly identical to Dominion Voting's defamation.
Fuck yes. Let's go.
Gavin Newsom is taking a page right out of Donald Trump's media playbook. The California governor accused Fox News of defamation in a lawsuit Friday morning, alleging the network should fork over $787 million after host Jesse Waters claimed Newsom lied about his phone calls with Trump, who ordered the National Guard troops to Los Angeles this month. Newsom's lawyers argue Waters' program misleadingly edited a video of Trump to support his claim. The Democratic likely presidential hopeful's request for damages is blah, 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 blah. Quote, if Fox News wants to lie to the American people on Donald Trump's behalf, it should face consequences, just like it did in the Dominion case, Newsom told Politico in a statement. Until Fox is willing to be truthful, I will keep fighting against their propaganda machine. So there's more in Politico. Everyone can read it.
Yeah.
First, fuck Gavin Newsom, because he's already off my, just sitting down with Steve Bannon and Charlie Kirk. No. But I'm happy for him to be a gadfly in this way. And I am happy for him to do these political stunts, because fucking somebody has to.
Yeah, take W's where you can find them, yeah.
Yeah, the Democratic Party is so... Is there, wet? Is this the term I want to use now? I know that there used to be wet Tories back in Thatcher's day. Is this an appropriate, fucking useless...
Yeah, just those people. Yeah.
Wet Democrats who are just, soggy, not doing anything about fascism. I'll write a strongly worded letter. Fuck
Have
off.
you ever...
Did you understand the times that we're living in?
Have you ever played Soggy Democrat?
Like a soggy biscuit.
Yeah, it's where you get a Democrat and then you all... No. Yeah, for anyone wondering about the meme on screen, that is unironically a thing that a Republican posted.
Oh, is this a daddy thing?
I thought it was so funny. No. It's a picture of Barack Hussein Obama. AOC. It's AI like cartoon slap, right? You got Obama, AOC, and I presume that's supposed to be Mandani, the New York guy.
Oh yeah.
And they're all wearing like communism gear, and then Nancy Pelosi is handing over a bag of cash to them. Because that's how any of that works.
The fact that a Democratic Socialist who's a Muslim, it's like it reminds me of Sadiq Khan when he first got elected.
Oh yeah, no,
Mayor of London.
We've all been through this. Like, oh no, a man from a city got elected to be the. Well, he's not even elected as the mayor yet. The candidate.
Yeah, he's just the candidate
to be the mayor of the city he's from.
Yeah.
Okay, that doesn't seem like if that's the end of Western civilization, then what do you think Western civilization is?
Yeah. And someone's like, oh, Muslims ran into the, like the federal building or the World Trade Center in New York. We should deport this guy. And someone replied back like, hey, like a white Christian nationalist bombed a building in Oklahoma. Should we also get rid of all Christian mayors now too, by your same logic?
Yes.
You fucking racist.
Just have non-religious people. Yes, I
that
agree.
would be better. Oh my God, look how gorgeous your hair is.
My hair is awesome.
You're getting to Viking levels there.
Thank you.
So can I tell you about this experience I had at my gym?
Go for it.
All right. In Germany, they have these things. I'm sure they have them other places, but they call them Aufgüsse. And it's when you're at a sauna.
I apologize for the foreignness.
Yeah. When you go to a spa, or in this case, my gym, and there's a sauna, they will do this thing where someone will come in, usually barely dressed, quite fit, if I'm honest. I've never seen an unfit person do one of these things. Probably because they have to do these Aufgüsses all the time. And they come in and they have like different scented waters.
Okay.
And they pour them over the rocks in the sauna. Well, first they get fresh air in the room, and then they close the door and you're locked in. No, you can leave at any time. But they get scented waters and they pour it over the rocks so that it steams up, maybe like a lemongrass scent or maybe a citrus scent or eucalyptus or mint or something like that. And then they stand in front of it with a towel, and they will like use a towel to get the air going from above, like feed the rock thing, the sauna heater bit.
Okay.
And then once it's like really warm in there, they'll come along and they'll take the air that's in the top of the room, and they'll use their towel, and they'll use the towel to like catch the air and throw it in your face. So you get like the hottest air in the room.
So like a kind of Dutch oven effect.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
And I have had it done at spas that I've paid for, but I was just on a Saturday at my gym, and I'm sitting around with me and like 3 naked guys in the sauna. It might have been 2, I can't remember. And this guy comes in with your sort of hair, looking like he just stepped off the set of Vikings. He's got like like tattoos all over him, and like just looks like he just got off a boat and took off his helmet, with I don't know, some sort of Nordic music he brought in as well.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And it is a Finnish sauna, so it is like technically whatever heat they keep.
You were the foreigner, yeah.
Yeah, quite. And well, I stuck it out. 2 of the guys bailed, but I stuck it because I'm my sauna.
Do you go like totally naked?
Yeah.
Titties and minge to the wind?
Oh yeah, everybody
nice,
goes naked.
Nice,
yeah,
nice.
It's like I walked in today and there's this like not very fit, belly, like built a house over his unit kind of shaped guy, and he's just laying on a towel on the chairs that they have, and he wasn't even trying to cover up. And then you just go, you walk in, you're naked, you go and sit in a towel, you sweat, and they've got some cold showers there. But yeah, this time was the first time I'd ever had an Aufgusse there, and it was very like.
I was always put off gyms just because there were like elderly men with massive cocks that would they did it on purpose. They would walk around naked.
But now
because when you've got it, you flaunt it, I guess, right?
Yeah, but now you've got your perspective changed because you've come out as bi.
Well, no, it wasn't that I found it disgusting. I was embarrassed because I'm obviously not that well hung.
Well, you can just say
I'm fine. Don't get me wrong. I'm growing out of shower, but I just thinking, Jesus Christ, if his grows to the percentage mine does, I don't know that he's got enough blood in his body. Does he not keel over and faint?
So normally, my preferred spa is over in Deutz, which is across the river, and they do like some water physical therapy for elderly people there. So it skews older. There's occasionally, like younger people who are quite fit and good looking and sexy and stuff, but generally it goes older. But then I've started visiting a new one, well, not a new one, but one that's in Ehrenfeld called Neptune Bad, and that skews way hotter, like way fitter, much younger, people who spend time in the gym. And there was one day, like, you're not really meant to like stare at people's junk, but I was just like looking in the direction. This guy gets out of the chilling pool, and it was not a chilling pool for him, because no, I actually might have been the warm pool. But anyway, I was like, whoa, eyes bounce. Like, I can't.
No, big, yeah, like a big.
I'm gonna stare, and once I notice it, so I just gotta take that memory.
Well, you do. And look, let's be entirely honest about it, right? You're not supposed to look, but like, if you've got a massive cock, I presume you're A, used to that.
Yeah.
And B, you're not that bothered. Like, it's
you're
not like
walking around naked, so
no one's shyly walking around with a big piece of pipe going on. Like, oh no, don't look at me. Oh no, you're massive cock, massive.
I mean, some people walk around with little kimonos or towels around them, whatever.
Yeah,
if they're a
that's
bit
fine.
more modest. Other people just like get out and they're like, look, if you're looking, that's on you.
Yeah, exactly. Look,
Basically.
look, the show's performing. It's up to you whether you want to observe.
Yeah. So
The tickets are
anyway,
free. The tickets are free.
I was like at Neptune God going, I really need to get fitter if I want to hang out here more.
Well,
but yeah.
It is what it is. Okie dokie. Shall we do content or some bollocks?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So the first thing you sent is a thing about MTG, but not the one that just left us. No, her of Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Her not so
fame.
subtle. Well, basically, it isn't subtext. As Sam Stein, who I assume is Jewish, or maybe comes from a Jewish family.
Racist, very racist.
He's very like I think Christians who are not clued into anti-Semitism can be like, oh, there's a subtle implications. Like Jewish people, like that is not an implication. That is just what it is.
Especially when you're famous for Jewish space laser type jibber
Yes.
jabber,
Yes.
Hey everybody, Tim Miller from The Bulwark here with managing editor Sam Stein. Sam wasn't that busy this afternoon, wanted to do a few videos with me, and I'm cool with that. And I like doing videos, I like talking to y'all, and he sent some ideas. And one of the ideas he sent was, how about we do a video on MTG blaming the Jews for killing JFK? Yeah. And I gotta tell you, that one, it kind of just...
What a sentence. What a sentence. I did not know Lee Harvey Oswald was Jewish.
Did you follow this particular?
No, I
Oh,
haven't
okay.
seen this.
There's so much insanity in fascism. It is hard to keep up.
Yeah, and I've been very Third World War
focused.
concentrated at the moment.
Yeah, understandably,
just
Well,
glazed on past my eyes. Like
Isn't that the problem?
Yeah, I don't know if it is, but I just, when MTG does a tweet that's longer than the 280 characters, that's just kind of a scroll past for me.
Yeah, exactly. I just no. If you go onto something like Twitter, I don't want to read a fucking an essay. It's supposed to be 100. Well, it was 140, now 280 or whatever characters. I don't want to read this fucking madness.
Oh my god, the people on Reddit who just do a wall of fucking text.
Yeah, I'm not fucking reading that.
I can't. My eyes literally just start to glaze over once I see more than about 8 lines of text in a row.
Exactly. Be very pithy.
I am coming in this blind. All I know is the context you have given, that apparently she blamed the Jews for killing JFK. I don't know why she did, and I want you to educate me.
Okay, I mean, well, let's do it this way. I'll just go through the tweet, and you stop me when you have thoughts.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. Also, you make a compelling point that they should never have scrapped the character limit at Twitter. And nothing good happens after 140.
Ridiculous.
Nothing good happens after 140.
I like the 280. I liked the 280 update.
Well, it made you think if you did 140. All right, our Marjorie Taylor Greene responding to Mark Levin, who called her stupid.
MTG, God, are you stupid? And you keep banging your head against the wall. Thankfully, POTUS ignored you and hit the Iranian nuclear sites. You seem very upset about it. I'm not going away. You're on my radar. Well, not to sound ludicrously evil there, whatever.
and said she kept banging her head against the wall because she was against the president's actions in Iran. Okay. This is what Marjorie Taylor Greene had to say in response from her official.
Just really quick, Mark Levin, for people who don't know, he went by the Great One. He was a talk radio host who kind of like rode in Sean Hannity's wake. He is a strong neocon, and there's been this huge fight going on between Levin, who's been much more like pro-regime change MAGA, and kind of the isolationist MAGA. And so there's been a lot of infighting, a lot of monkeys throwing poop at each other. And so anyway, that's kind of the backstory of why
and the other backstory
Levin
is that
and MTG are going at each other.
And the other backstory is, unlike, I will give her some credit, I suppose, unlike other MAGA non-interventionists, Marjorie Taylor Greene has like stuck to it, and she's not found some post hoc rationalization for supporting Trump bombing Iran. She's been like against. Okay, here we go.
You don't ever have to hand it to MTG. Okay, here we go. MTG. Let's read the tweet.
Quote: "This is extremely sick and disturbing. Please read to the end." Mark, Mark, you have the exact same tone and language that the psychopaths used that send me death threats every single day. You should be fired from Fox News, and shame on Fox if they condone this. Let me introduce you to my friend Jesus.
Well, Mexican boy. Yeah?
Jesus.
Yeah, Jesus. My friend Jesus. Yeah.
Hasn't he been deported already?
No, he's one of the good ones, Christy, please.
I really don't understand this whole making a friend with a character in a book. Like, I don't. But I'm an atheist. I'm like, I don't get this kind of stuff.
Oh, wow.
You know.
Is Mark Mark Levin is Jewish? I assume. I don't actually know though.
I think he's Jewish. It's
Jewish.
It's a very Jewish surname. So.
Should
we Google this?
Yeah, probably worth looking into. I reckon, lads. Jesus. Yeah, exactly. So that's you're just introducing one Jewish boy to another. That's fine. Yeah. Have you met my Jewish friend Jesus?
Yeah, he was also Jewish. Yes.
Yeah.
He was not a Christian. Never converted a single person to Christianity.
Well, exactly. I mean, it would be, frankly, conceited. Because he was Jesus Christ, right? So, like, if you're a Christian and you're Christ... Jesus. Well, no, but that's the point, isn't it? If he was...
His last name wasn't Christ.
Well, no, I know. His last name was like Goldberg or something, right? Probably, I reckon. No, it is, but like he's supposed to be Christ if that story is true, right? So if he was a Christian, like how full of yourself would you have to be that? Do you know what I mean? What you praise yourself? Shut up, mate. You don't even keep up with the fucking carpentry business anymore. It's embarrassing.
This is so weird. Here we go. By the way, I want to say, so I was looking up Sam Stein to see if he was also, from Jewish heritage, and the only Sam Stein there is in Wikipedia. I got very confused for a moment. Is an American semi-professional high-stakes poker player from Los Angeles, who won his first World Series of Poker bracket at the 2011 World Series of Poker. And that is the only Sam Stein I can find in Wikipedia.
Well, you find all kinds of poker players. You know, what's her name?
Nope.
Married.
David
Mitchell's wife. Yeah. Victoria Corrin Mitchell.
Yes.
Yeah, she's a semi-professional poker player, which is pretty dope. Yeah. Anyway, what was? His last name was of Nazareth. True.
Mark Levin, one of three boys born in Philly to a Jewish family.
There you go.
So there you go. Went to Temple. Didn't know that. Go Owls. All right, continue.
Wait, which Temple?
Hey, because Temple is the name of the university. Because Temple. It's very funny. It's like saying, I went to Duke. Oh, which one? Because it's a title of royalty. Christo.
Yeah, it works better with Temple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to Brown. Let's not be racist. Let's not be racist. Christo, come on.
I'm just joking.
Actually, no, you're right. No, he did both. He involved a temple. It looks like maybe a high school and law school.
Okay, Jewish temple and temple. All right, here we go. Keep it going. Let me introduce my friend Jesus. He said, quote, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called..."
No, he didn't. He said, "Blessed are the cheesemakers."
Yes. And the Greeks.
Which, as we know, he wasn't referring just to cheesemakers, but to makers of all kinds of dairy produce.
Yes.
Son of God. Jesus is the Messiah. Jesus is the one and only Son of God. Jesus was put to death on a Roman cross and died as a one-time sacrifice for our sins. Jesus is the Lamb of God. You can read about Jesus in Isaiah 53:5-12.
It
Jesus
seems
will-
there like there's a little like kind of just a little subtext about the Jews killing Jesus also.
A little? That's the text, man.
Oh, you think it's the text? Okay,
Oh, yeah.
got it.
They just like killing people with the first letter J. Yeah, John F. Kennedy, Jesus.
Yes,
you know.
yes, there you go.
Yeah.
It's like, hey,
Continue.
your people killed my guy.
Okay, got it. All right,
Jesus will
continue.
return one day, and those that did not recognize him, that's a type on her part, will mourn. He will bring everlasting peace to all the earth, and his kingdom will have no end. Jesus also says, pray for your enemies. I will do my best to pray for you. But I will be...
This is still a tweet. We're still doing it. The tweet is still going. Okay.
Yeah, this is like a
All
biblical
right.
verse. But I will be watchful now. I don't know what that means. There was once a great president that the American people loved. He opposed Israel's nuclear program, and then he was assassinated.
Whoa. Okay. Okay, that took a jump. That took a bit of a jump there. Okay.
Yep.
I mean, okay. Why would Lee Harvey Oswald, a communist who wasn't Jewish,
Yep.
kill the president of the United States on behalf
Yeah.
of Israel?
Well, why would the population of Jerusalem want to see a Jew put to death by the occupying Roman forces that they hated? It doesn't.
They
make
just
sense.
loved Barabbas.
That's
They were just look, Christy. They weren't anti-Jesus. They were just pro-Barabbas.
It's just amazing to me. Like their God is the one that demands a human sacrifice, and yet they wanted to blame Jewish people for the fact their
Well,
God
she even
wanted human blood
Yeah.
in order to like what is this? What is like this whole like blood sacrifice, ritual cannibalism, eating Jesus? Can I just tell you something I saw on the internet? Is one kid asked their Sunday school teacher how many communion wafers would they have to eat the whole Jesus?
Yeah, exactly. It's science. That is a kid trying to do science, and I appreciate that. He's a curious young mind. Like, what's the ratio here? How much of a percentage of a
100?
Jesus is one communion wafer?
Yep.
Because like, I want to work out how many Jesuses I might eat over the course of my life.
Yeah.
You
Is
know.
it four Jesuses? Is it like the half? Is it a half dozen?
look,
is it like more than a dozen?
This is how you make Christianity relatable, right? You introduce mathematics.
Yeah, that's just
Yeah.
going to confuse people.
If one Jesus sets off from Philadelphia, traveling at 60 miles an hour, do one of those.
Like, at what point do we get to? Do the atheist community gets to start putting up billboards and saying Jesus ghosted you? He's not coming back. It's been 2,000 years. Like,
Yeah,
just get
exactly.
over
Move
it.
on, lads. It's honestly, it's getting sad.
Like, he's blocked you on all his socials.
Like
he's not returning your calls.
Exactly. Like, look, you have to take the wedding dress off at this point. It's getting sad. Very low. Anyway, so apparently the Jews killed JFK.
Yeah.
Which is one I hadn't heard before. I'd heard the mafia. I'd heard, secret fucking aliens, second shooter on the grassy knoll. Hang on, do we know the second shooter on the grassy knoll
Was it Jesus?
wasn't Rabbi?
Okay.
Who knows?
Was it Jewish Jesus?
Was it? It might have been Jesus. He came back and went, "Fuck you! I'm not having a Catholic president. You mental."
Yeah, we were gonna get our nukes.
Exactly.
Because
Jesus was working. Jesus was working for Mossad. Yeah, fair enough, I guess. Yeah.
That was just dropped into the middle of it.
Wait, at first I thought she was talking about Trump. I was like, Trump opposed the Israel nuclear program? No, JFK did, and then he was assassinated. So is that a common theory that JFK was assassinated by the Jews?
Honestly, it's the first time I've heard. It's the first time I've.
Yeah, it's the first time I think I've heard it, but it doesn't surprise me because, like, on the internet, the Jews did everything.
Yeah.
There's no thing that happens or would ever happen or could ever happen that the Jews didn't do according to some twat.
Mm-hmm.
Everything.
Yeah. If you find something dumb enough, a dumb enough conspiracy, someone will put the Jews in it.
Oh, of course, absolutely, yeah.
Fluoride in the water or something.
Yeah.
You know.
Mad shit.
I've heard it, but I have to admit, it makes sense.
Is that the end of the tweet, or does it keep going?
No, it keeps going, but I will
I kind of want to hear hold on. What's right out? Can we just read the sentence before and after the JFK thing? I just need a little more context.
All right, backing up a little bit. Jesus also says, pray for your enemies. I will do my best to pray for you, but I will be watchful now. There was once a great president that the American people loved. He opposed Israel's nuclear program, and then he was assassinated. I am for peace.
It's so fucking weird. Also, like, what? So you liked the Democratic president, John Fitzgerald Kennedy? Now is that
the one who? Well, I guess his death brought about the civil rights movement. So we were still deep in segregation. So
Yeah. Also, like, you can't argue that he was a peaceful guy because he did sort of do the whole bombing Southeast Asia thing.
Yeah, and Bay of Pigs.
And the Bay of Pigs, but he did say "Ich bin ein Berliner."
Yeah, which is a very high caloric pastry.
Okay, we've been through this, Christy. I think it wouldn't have been seen as that. People understood what he meant.
Well, no, but what he said and what he meant. I mean, it was a faux pas.
Yeah, a little bit, but like, people didn't literally stand around dumbfounded and be like, "What does he mean?
No, but
I am a donut man." No.
I'm sure they would have giggled a little bit, like
probably, but like,
Yeah.
I mean, they were desperate for any outside help. They were probably like, "I'm glad that he spoke a little
I'm
bit."
glad he's a jelly donut.
Shit German.
We
Okay,
need
cool.
more. Yeah, we need more jelly donuts.
Yeah. This is why we shouldn't encourage English speakers to speak foreign, because they can't do it.
Ooh, my groceries are coming in 10 minutes. Just FYI.
Yeah, that's fair enough. You're going to
I have to
pop
nip
off
off
a little bit.
and put the frozen foods away. At
No
least.
problems.
I oppose war, including wars Israel wages. Should I feel that my life is in danger now too? What about President Trump?
Well, hang on, the Jews are going to assassinate you? Because they didn't do that when you did the space laser bit.
Yep.
So I reckon they're not coming for you. You're alright. What the fuck?
Strongly rebuked.
So that's
Israel.
kind of an implication there, then, that MTG is suggesting that maybe she should be worried that the Jews might kill her.
Yeah.
That's not an implication. She's directly saying.
Yeah, it's literally,
I'm worried.
yeah.
Should I be worried that the Jews might come for me with? She didn't say it, but with their space lasers. So then
Exactly,
it finishes
yeah.
with, "What about President Trump, who strongly rebuked Israel this morning for continuing to attack Iran?" Ooh boy.
It looks
That's it.
like the Jewish Zionist Mossad conspiracies about JFK, and I'm sure they go back a while, but they've been kind of reanimated by this recent kind of release of materials.
Oh my God! Yeah, I'm reading the
because-
replies right now to her tweet, and boy, yeah.
I guess there's some. I guess in the JFK documents, there was anyway some references to Zionism.
I'm not going down this
Yeah,
rabbit
I don't
hole.
want to
No, thank
freelance.
What was astounding to me is if you look at the Forbes 100 most rich people in the world, there are barely any Jewish people on that list.
Yeah, that's
They're like
not that
white
surprising.
Christian European, descendant men,
Well, and there's probably a few Indians and stuff now as well.
Yeah, but I mean, this idea that somehow Jews control banks and the world finance, just no. Look at who's. It's Jeff Bezos. It's Elon Musk. If people started make conspiracy theories about them.
Yeah, but
They're the ones who have all
Elon
the
Musk.
assets.
It's short for Elon Muscovitz. Fact.
Yeah, all those South African Jewish migrants.
Actually, there are loads of cool South African Jews. There's a fantastic interview I heard on listening to the cricket a few years ago. The guy who was Nelson Mandela's lawyer in 1960, whatever the fuck it was a Jewish guy, a South African Jewish man, who was because he stood up for righteousness, who was forced out of the country and had to live basically in exile until the end of apartheid, which is fucking a really cool dude. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think that I think they're mostly Dutch, right?
The Afrikaners, yeah.
Yeah, and Christian Dutch, not. I mean, I'm sure there are some Jewish people all over the world, because migration is a thing. I do see the delivery guy, so I'm going to hear my bell going off any second here. So,
Okay.
Should we wrap this up? Yeah, and then you can entertain yourself.
Yeah, basically, yeah. MTG blames the Jews for everything because why not? I guess it's more simple than thinking.
Yeah, that was basically it. By the way, there's not much more to that video.
Yeah.
And they're just talking shit about that. So.
Which is fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
content.
Then. Yeah. Nelson Mandela's lawyer was George Bizos, a prominent human rights lawyer who defended him during the Rivona trial of the 1960s, helping to spare him from the death penalty. Bizos was a key figure in the anti-apartheid movement and remained a close friend of Mandela throughout his life.
Nice.
According to non-binary there.
Some people doing good work out there.
Yes, exactly. Well, that's the thing. In any situation of extreme conditions, you're going to get the worst of people and the best of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't Nelson Mandela Zionist? What the fuck? No. What are you talking about? He literally said, our liberation is not complete without the liberation of the Palestinian people. Yeah. Like, I don't think he was a Zionist, no. Like, literally, but the first place he went to after being released from prison was to Cuba.
He's knocking at my door. I will be right back.
Yeah, okay, I'll see you in a second, Krista. Yeah, no, Nelson Mandela was like, I mean, a socialist of some kind. Although he didn't really govern as a socialist when he was president of South Africa, rather annoyingly. But he was trying to like bring a broken country back together. So I'll give him like something of a pass, I think. I remember Nelson Mandela said Israel had a right to exist. Well, basically everyone sort of has to say that. If you don't want to get assassinated, you know, that sort of thing. But he wasn't a fucking Zionist. Don't be silly. That's far too far. You might not consider him to be as based as history remembers him to be, but he was pro-Palestine, and that's something, definitely. Yes. So, what was I doing? I can't remember. Yes, so, if you wanted to help me out, everybody, you can do so in the form of bits and subs and memberships and, well, super chats and things like that. You get the idea. If you wanted to. You obviously don't have to. But if you're able to and willing to, they would be very, very useful because I need to eat. Especially being a fat bastard, you know. I don't know what this is, but Christy sent it, so we'll listen. We'll watch whatever the fuck this is in a second. Yes. How are we all in chat, by the way? Can you and Christy Winters talk about the Supreme Court? Firstly, the Supreme Court of which nation, and what particular decision were you referring to? Nelson Mandela's nuanced support for both Israel and Palestine. In general, one can say that among Israeli and Palestinian supporters, even among nationalists for the two nations, there is significantly more love for Nelson Mandela within the latter than the former. There is no question that Nelson Mandela supported freedom for the Palestinian people and spoke often of their right to self-determination. But his approach to Israel was a little more complex and nuanced, requiring more discussion and thought than a single line on social media meme might provide. On the 12th of June 1994, the New York Times published an editorial by Clyde Haberman, where Nelson Mandela was asked about his support for the Palestinian struggle. Haberman noted the following. After the election of the African National Congress leader, quote, South Africa has a black president who once hugged Yasser Arafat, and the white government that Israel used to work closely with is gone. And Israel itself has come to accept and negotiate with Mr. Arafat, albeit with a correct handshake and not Nelson Mandela's joyous embrace. Of which leaves Israeli officials wondering where they stand with the new government in South Africa and what the implications may be for the country's Jews who are leaving for Israel and other destinations in growing numbers. What the fuck? Your call ends in 15 minutes? I don't think it does. I might have to set up a new one.
Yeah, I just saw that. I saw we got 15 minutes left.
On this particular call, but yeah, I'll send you when it drops. I'll just send you another one.
Okay, yeah, I'll open up Discord then.
True.
Be ready.
How is your
Oh.
How was how are your groceries?
Yeah, I got some frozen things in and some chicken, some lean proteins. Also got a minute steak. I'm excited about that. And some broccoli, cucumbers, some protein bars. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, can I just say, I had a conversation with my mom because she's
Go on,
on an GLP-1. She's gotten the jab, the weight loss jab.
Oh, okay, right.
And she was having a moan. She's like, "Oh, I've been on it for about 3 months and I've lost 13 pounds. Like, that's really good." She's like, "Yeah, I'm losing about a pound a week, but I don't think
some
it's very
groceries.
much." I'm like,
What
"Mom,
a great word that is.
you do nothing." Like, I didn't say it like that, but like, she's not walking 10,000 steps a day. She's not going to the gym and doing strength training. She's not doing cardio. She's literally, all she's doing is eating between 900 and 1,000 calories a day, and she's losing a pound a week. I'm like, "Mom, you realize that I am walking 8 to 10,000 steps about 5 days a week, going to the gym 3 or 4 times a day, doing 30 minutes of strength training, 30 minutes of cardio, and I'm happy if I lose a third to a half a pound of fat every week
Nice.
doing that. And
Okay.
you're just sitting at home, like you're just being retired and you're losing a pound a week." She's like, "Yeah, maybe I need to like be more happy about it and adjust my expectations." I'm like, "Yes."
Yeah, you reckon?
Yeah.
Thank you, Baron von Coxlap with 200 bits. Get some groceries. What a great word that is. Yeah.
Groceries?
Yeah, people didn't used to say groceries. I brought
What'd they say?
groceries back, bigly. Okay.
Oh, did you play this one already?
No, I was waiting for you to come back. I
Okay.
don't know what
Oh,
the fuck this is.
thanks.
Thank you to non-binary who gifted a sub to Nelson Mandela. I don't think it's the real Nelson Mandela from
I don't
Beyond
think
the
he
Grave.
watches. No.
And we've started a treasure train.
Oh, what's
which is
that?
well, it's like a hype train, I think. I'll just read out the description that Twitch have given me. A treasure train just started in your channel. Participants save 35% on 5 or more gifted subs at level 5.
Wow.
So if we get to level 5, then you get a discount. Well, that's not. We don't get to level 5 very often. So
no, I think we made it to level 3 once.
I think. Well, I have made it to level 5 a few times, but not often
Yeah.
because that's a lot of fucking money, right?
Yeah, it requires a lot of people who happen to have a lot of money. At
Yeah,
that
you
time.
rip off bastards,
Yeah.
Twitch, is what I'm saying.
Mhm.
But if we get to level 2, I will finger...
Nope.
No, I know I won't do that. I will finger as in point the finger of blame at Benjamin Netanyahu because he's guilty of crimes.
Yeah.
There you
Prosecute
go.
The son of a bitch.
There you go. What a fucking save.
Criminal. Wow, it's so edgy for me to be like, anti-criminal. That's edgy. these
Well,
days.
people say, look, Zohran Mamdani, when he was asked, would you arrest Benjamin Netanyahu if he turns up in New York? And he said yes. Why were the
good.
Conservatives annoyed? That's just
that's
law and order. Yeah.
He's a criminal.
What, you want criminals walking the streets of New York City?
But what happened to mass deportation
Exactly. Send him to El Salvador. It's the only answer. Anyway, I don't know what this is, but Christy sent it to me, so let's have a look.
Have empires run by emperors. Then we had kingdoms run by kings. Now we just have trees.
Make of that what you will.
We used to have
fair dues. Fair
Yep.
dues. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So did you want to watch this thing? I thought this was fun. It's a little bit longer, but I think we can go 1.25 because she speaks quite slowly.
Okay, can I just sorry, what I missed to do when I got the groceries was to top up my hot water, and it's like
Okay.
in 80s here. So 2 seconds, I'll be back.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Okay. Can I get Kev and Christy to react to a video? It's very short. Yeah, send it, I guess, yeah. I'll have a little look offline and then we'll say. Yeah, don't forget bits and subs, everybody! And we can get to level 2 of the hype train. And then I can do nothing bad because Christy is on the stream. Are you and Christy saving the SCOTUS decision for the next stream? Well, I don't know anything about it, Chris. That's the problem. I'm here at the Surround bit Shiva. That's just an interview of Benjamin Netanyahu.
Oh, wait, before we start.
Yeah, go on.
Oh. Now, when I was growing up as a kid in the 70s, late 70s and 80s, we used to have, we could buy them at the grocery store. You get these packets of like freezy sticks, and they're basically just like sugar water in plastic, and they were sort of popsicles that you would pop out. Did you have those?
hang on, describe it again for me.
Yep. So it's you get them in the summer because obviously it was
Right.
for like when it was hot, and they would just be tubes of plastic filled with basically sugar water that was colored.
And it would be frozen.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
you
yeah.
stick it in your freezer, and then you go in there and you like I could break one off from the pack.
Yeah, tip tops.
And
Yeah.
okay, yeah. And did they also have like a grape flavored one and maybe like a cherry?
Yeah, so
one,
one of them
orange?
would be like red, and the next one would be blue and green. Yeah, yeah.
But like the blue one was of no natural fruit color ever.
Ever, literally, yeah.
Ever, yeah. Well, I've got this sugary like squirty like thing that I add to drinks to kind of flavor them, and it is that color.
Yeah.
It is like the neon blue of no particular. It's just called blue energy. They don't even pretend.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah,
blueberry.
it's not a fruit. It's not a fruit.
No.
It's just blue. Is
It's just
good, and
blue
we'll
water.
we'll
Yeah,
we'll
with
sell
fake
better
sugar.
because
Yeah.
people like the bright colours. Yeah.
But that's exactly what it tastes like, and it's exactly what it looks like. So it a little bit reminds me of my childhood whenever I open one of the squirty
Fair
packs.
dues, fair dues. Yeah. Thank you, Baron Van Cockslap, for 5 gifties. We're on level 2, so I've got to go and
Woo, choo choo.
metaphorically point the finger at Benjamin Netanyahu. Yes,
War criminal.
indeed so. Right now we've. By the way, yeah, you get level 2. It's still going and all that shit. You can give me money if you wanted to. But I do need a wee. So because I've been going for
All right.
like 2 hours.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yes. Stick with me for a second.
All right, well, let me look at the Twitch and chat and see who's in there. No non-binary, saw that name. Hello, Jim Speak. And non-binary, my rear ends into hisa. Brody G99. I swear he just read that as I will do my best to pay for you. Sorry, I'm a little bit late in the chat, but yeah, I think that's what Sam said. Sib Wolf's in there talking about how the Romans were the ones who killed Jesus. Yeah, because he committed insurrection, and for that sedition, the crime was crucifixion. There is no evidence whatsoever of Jewish people crucifying other Jewish people. It was a Roman thing, and Jewish people would have found it horrendous and disgusting and a violation of human rights, basically. Not to say that they didn't do terrible things in their history too, because history is filled with shit people doing terrible things. Romans did terrible things. The Gauls did terrible things. People were terrible to each other. Yeah, so who else? Leckers Minkle Click? I don't know what that is. Yes, raspberry is blue flavor. Yeah, I think raspberry this is a generous blue. The blue in my drink is like bluer than the blue that she's got behind her. It's nothing like. Hey, Kieran, lost 7 kilograms. That is fantastic. I know that it's very important to lose the visceral fat that is deep inside your body and surrounds your organs. So fantastic. Way to go. Lost 7 kilograms. That's so Kieran, tell us are you out walking a little bit? Are you doing some strength training? I know that they recommend a very high protein diet when you're on the jab. Also, if you can, to get to the gym and do strength training as well, because when you lose weight, generally you don't just lose fat. It would be great if all you lost was fat. But if you aren't on a high protein diet and you aren't giving your muscles a reason to be preserved, you will also lose muscle. So don't smear the Goths. Yes, the Gauls.
Anyway,
and congratulations to Kieran, who is more to love per square inch now, because they are slimming down.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi, welcome back.
Yes. What were you saying about Goths?
I meant Gauls.
Oh, so you weren't talking about like Robert Smith. You were talking about
no, no
French. Well, proto-French or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
French.
Yes. Well, that's the thing. It doesn't matter if you're actually a Frank. It's the fact that you're from that part of the world. There's something about that landmass that just is disgusting.
Also, people, it's hot. Drink water. Don't die. Your message from your friendly local non-binary in the chat.
True.
Train success. Choo choo.
Yeah.
All right.
Hang on. Oh, did that show up for everyone? I thought that was just
I don't know.
me.
I just saw it. No, it came up a big purple scrolly Kieran or like
Yeah.
Chiron kind of thing came over.
A
Yep.
scrolling Kieran? What?
Yeah, yes. Chiron was what I was looking for, but I looked at Kieran's name by accident.
Oh, bless. Oh, we've all done that. We've all done that. Okay, so this is an interesting one. Now, are you aware of the popular young musical artist Sabrina Carpenter?
Mm-mm.
No.
No, but you know who I'm going to go see on July 2nd?
Who are you going to see on July 2nd?
Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yep, I got tickets 2 nights ago.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
So I'm going to be on July 2nd. I'm going to be like, boop, 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 boop.
Yeah. I don't know enough about that Chris L in chat, by the way. I like... If it's as described, yeah, that's bad. But I don't know anything about it, so I can't really give you an opinion on that. But yeah. Anyway, Sabrina Carpenter is a very famous musical artist, I'm led to believe. She had the hit of the summer last year with a song I've never heard. But
right.
She's very popular.
Finger on the pulse of the youth.
Yeah.
Of today.
Well, yeah, I was really annoyed because having sort of been suggested this video, I looked into who this person was. And not the person doing the video, I've already seen her stuff before. But Sabrina Carpenter. And she, like, plays fucking stadiums. Like, she's fucking massive, right?
Okay, good for her.
I think I'd heard of her before, and I might have... you probably heard snippets on the radio or something, you know.
Sing it for me.
No, I don't. I can't. I genuinely can't. I don't know any of her songs. I couldn't tell you a fucking tune. Yeah. Anyway, but she's really big, and she's releasing a new album, and the artwork for this has caused quite a stir, and it's to do with kink. And I thought, well, this is a Christie thing. We can do a Christie bit.
I might have seen a picture of this.
Well,
I'll find out.
Yes. Try asking Christy. She's a Yank and probably is horrible about the SCOTUS. Chris! Right, Chris L. Bless you, right? I get that you're very passionate about this topic. And I am too, in the sense that I don't want people's fucking rights taken from them. But I can only explain to you so many times. Christy and I don't know a lot about this particular decision that's been handed down.
We should get Marcus on.
We should. We can. Yeah. You know what, Chris? For you, dear friend. Next week... Right?
Yeah.
We'll try and arrange to get Marcus Drake, who you may see in chat from time to time, may be lurking today, I don't know, who is a lawyer and all-round good egg, to come on and tell us about it. And
yeah, other than saying it's shit, we can't put a lot of insight, but Marcus will know all.
Is very good, yes. So
yes, he's our on-call lawyer.
Indeed. So yes. But apologies, we can't really talk about that today because we don't fucking know.
All right, before we start this video, do you want to end this call and start the next one? Because we are like seconds away from being cut off.
Okay. Yes. All
right.
Yeah, I'll
Can
end
you
the
start
call
a
then.
new call while we're on this call?
I don't think so. But anyway.
Oh, okay. All right.
Bye.
See you in a second.
Okay, so I have to start a new fucking call now. Google Meet. I used to pay for the Google Meet thing, and then I just thought, I don't fucking use it. I don't like if it's only 2 people, it's unlimited, I think. Whereas if you want 3 people, it's like, or 3 or more people, you have to pay for more than an hour, right? Yeah, use microphone. Allow this time. Yeah, fuck off. Right. And so, yeah, but I don't use it enough with 3 people. Like, I thought that I was going to be using it far more with, like, groups of people doing, I don't know, fucking debates or whatever, and I just didn't. So I thought it's a fucking waste of money. So, yeah, there you go. But Christy will be back with us in a second. Oh, it's too sweaty. And apparently it's getting fucking warmer in the UK. It's going to be like 32 degrees or something on Monday. It's too much. Hello there, Christo.
There's a reason why I'm sitting in the sauna for like 20 minutes every time I go. I'm building up my heat endurance for the summer.
Oh, I was just chatting with people. It's going to be too hot. They're expecting 32 degrees on Monday. I can't do that.
Do you know that there are massive health benefits to going into a sauna for 20 minutes 3 or 4 times a week?
Probably, yeah. I imagine.
Yeah, it like forces your capillaries and your various arteries to open up more, so it helps with your blood pressure and arterial sclerosis. It gets you sweating, so it cleans out all your pores. It also causes some stress, so it ends up releasing a dopamine to counterbalance that, which is why you feel so zen and relaxed when you get out of the sauna. And of course, if you've just worked out, it's good for the circulation of muscle, kind of like keeps the blood flow flowing to the muscles that you've just worked out, encouraging repair and recovery.
Here is a... no, I'm not going to play any of Sabrina Carpenter's music.
Oh yeah, copyright.
Yeah,
Also, it can
okay.
suppress your appetite for a little while because your body is so focused on not making sure you don't die that it
Yeah.
forgets about, like, I can eat later, it's fine, just don't overheat.
Also, just sweating the shit out.
Oh yeah.
Your pores are beautiful. Yeah. Also, put a little bit of weed on the stones. Get everyone absolutely fucking baked. Lovely stuff. Thank you, everyone, for the hype train. Much love to you. Or the treasure train, as they're now calling it for no fucking reason. Right, so Sabrina Carpenter, Kink, and Discourse.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Trash, as you know, and before this video starts, I have an important trigger warning for you.
Again, this is at 1.25. They don't normally sound like this.
I will be discussing intimate partner violence, kink, and worst of all, juggling. So if you don't want to see that, you can turn off this video, but it'll be pretty mild depictions of all of those things, just mild discussions mostly. So over this past weekend, I was in the woods for 4 days, touching grass, among other things. Don't worry about it. I was in the woods. But you know what I came home to? Yeah, everyone attacking my girl, Sabrina Carpenter. Yeah, as people may know, I don't listen to a lot of music. Like, I listen to some, like, I really like this artist named Jesse Wells. He actually came to a region near me recently, and I couldn't go. I was pretty upset. I mostly listen to podcasts about train crashes, though. Not a lot of music. But I do really like Sabrina Carpenter. What I really like about her is that finally we have a pop star who is representation for the short and horny community. I'm a member of that demographic.
Yeah, Christy, I'm surprised it's one of your own.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a kindred spirit.
And we get so little representation, and that's even more so for horny women like Sabrina Carpenter. Like, short, horny women get very little positive representation in the media. What women like her mostly receive is infantilization. This is especially true if they have a childlike appearance, voice, body type, hobbies, or aesthetic. People express this moralistic attitude towards the sexuality of short people, in which they basically portray anyone who wants to fuck us as essentially the same as pedophiles. And it makes it pretty hard to be horny on main when everyone is moralizing the people who want to fuck you, the people who do fuck you, as basically pedophiles, because they're interpreting you as childish based on just one arbitrary trait of height, rather than, say, your actual age. So it makes sense that in the past, Sabrina Carpenter has been criticized for people saying she's leaning into the Lolita aesthetic, the Lolita concepts. Much in the way that artists like Lana Del Rey actually do lean into that. Because, you know, she's short, she dresses in a cute aesthetic, and she's a former Disney star. They cite, like, one photograph where she's sitting under a sprinkler, and they say it's a reference to the Lolita movie, even though that photo set was actually, like, all-American. It was, like, Americana was the theme, and it had other stuff like white picket fences, tanning in the yard, like, with a white picket fence and a little drink. It was not a reference to the Lolita movie. It was just one similar shot in a photo shoot. But people have criticized her in the past for that. They're also really mad about her sexualized performances. She performs wearing vintage lingerie on stage and simulates sex acts. She pretends to fillet the microphone. She does this thing where she steps behind a curtain.
Like, this was Madonna circa 1988. Like, why are we still having this debate?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, do you remember, does everyone remember Like a Virgin?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
the MTV performance where she was like, you know, like, she's always been doing sexual stuff on.
Or was it, I'm down on my knees, I want to take you there.
Yes.
I think she might have been talking about sucking a dick.
And like a prayer. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you can say, oh, it's like a prayer. She means kneeling down at the pew, and she's talking to God. No, she's sucking a dick. And that's absolutely fine. Get over it.
Yeah, I kind of feel like this is just so 20th century debate to me. I don't get it.
Yeah,
But-
absolutely. Yeah. Britney Spears too. Yeah, basically
gosh,
every pop star since Madonna, basically.
Can we look at the videos from Hit Me Baby one more time? It's in a fucking school, like a hallway with lockers.
That
on it.
is
She's
a
wearing-
Lolita thing. Yeah.
Yeah, she is wearing a school uniform in that fucking video, and she has
Yep.
braids,
Yep.
like pony braids, ponytail braids.
And that was the 90s.
Yes, this is like,
Like-
this. Come on, that was 30 years ago.
Yeah, like the reaction to people wanting to have any semblance of sexual liberation.
Yeah.
Pathetic.
And pretends to have sex with a backup dancer in like shadow. It's cute. And she does have some young fans, like a lot of teenage girls are into her work. But Sabrina Carpenter doesn't specifically court a young fan base the way artists like Taylor Swift do. She's mostly catering to adult women and like older teenagers. But a lot of teenage girls do like her music, and then their conservative parents are horrified when they see her stage performance where she's pallating a microphone and simulating sex acts on stage and making lewd jokes. A lot of people were really insulted by her performance in Paris where she simulated the sex act of an Eiffel Tower. An Eiffel Tower is where two people with penises of any kinds
Okay, I need to move this across because people can't see. There we go. So yeah.
Also, if parents are upset because they take their kids to this and then it ends up being sexually explicit, that's on you.
Yeah.
Like, if you should do your homework. It's not up to an artist to fence off their content for adults because you can't do the work of doing research as to what your kids are going to consume.
Yep.
Fuck someone in between them, on either side. They fuck, and then at the top, while they're fucking, they reach up and touch hands at the top, creating an Eiffel Tower shape with their hands and the person in the middle. It's okay. It's more of a novelty than anything. It's kind of hard to do with the two people with the
like, I'm not... Is that a thing that even really happens?
Exactly.
Like, you
I
see...
mean, maybe in porn, but...
Well, yeah, probably. Or, like, if it's like a... What do you call it? Polyamorous thing, maybe.
Yeah.
They, you know, because they're all cool with it or whatever. But, like, you see so many of these descriptions of weird sex acts on, like, Urban Dictionary, and you're like, this never happens. This, like... This is weird and gross. No one has ever done this.
penises aren't approximately the same height. So then you get like a lopsided tower. Most of the sexualized content at her shows is what I would call lewd jokes, like lewd references to sexuality that are meant to be funny. The joke is the sex stuff, like, oh, Eiffel Tower, haha, we're in Paris, we're doing the Eiffel Tower. Or we're fucking behind this curtain, tee-hee. Or like, oh, I'm in a toxic relationship, but I'm the toxic one. And in my experience, men do not like this. Men do not like it when women are funny, or trying to be funny. Yep. When men say women aren't funny, they're not stating that as a fact. That's an aspiration. They don't want women to be funny, because they don't like it when women are funny. Actress Melanie Scrofano of Winona Earp fame said this in an interview. She said that boys were not really interested in her when she was younger, and they would say to her, like literally to her face, they would say, you would be really pretty or hot if you stopped trying to make jokes and be funny. Men like women who are demure and interested in them and laugh at their jokes. They don't like it when women demand attention by telling jokes, telling really funny stories. They want women to be locked in on them, paying attention to them, which is why you see all the time men
which is so mental and stupid. Like,
yeah,
funny people are fucking awesome to be around. What difference does it make if they're a lady, a man, a non-binary?
Well, remember,
whatever.
patriarchy centers men, and so everything is catered to them, especially heterosexual cis men in the dominant ethnic group of that country. Everyone is there to serve them. So men who are gay men are there to be butts of their jokes, or trans people or whatever else, you know, someone for them to feel superior to. Women are supposed to cook for them, clean for them, bear their children, and give up their lives in order to make that man's life easier. Yeah. That's what patriarchy teaches. And so when men are taught that they are the top of the pyramid when it comes to social importance, when a woman when a woman is funny.
Hello? Yellow. See, the patriarchy got her. Christie appears to have been captured by I don't fucking know. Basically, her internet's fucked, I think. I don't know. We'll wait and see. Yes, apologies. She's still in the room for now, so, yeah. Anyway, I was going to do the silly joke, which I might as well just do for you now, which was when Christie says the patriarchy centres men. I was going to say, yeah, but the Eiffel Tower centres the woman, because the two men are on the outside. So, but... you know, such is life. ICE got her, probably, yeah. Although, what ICE are doing in Germany, I don't know. Ah, she's gone! No! Presumably her internet just dropped out. Because German internet is poo. Yes, how is everybody? I might even prefer more feminine joke tellers. I'm not really bothered about the gender of a person if they're funny. It doesn't. That's not interesting to me, or not important. Boo my internet. Yeah. Well, it's okay, Christy. Jump back in whenever you can. Yeah, I enjoy people who can tell a funny joke, and it doesn't have to be like a one-liner. It can just be a funny story or whatever. Hello.
And I'm back. Sorry, I don't know what happened there.
Absolutely fine, Christy. The internet is.
It's
optional. It is what it is. I thought the patriarchy had got you.
Yeah, finally.
Yeah.
Finally took me out.
Yeah. Anyway, you were saying.
Oh, when did I cut off?
You said you were making a good point, but I can't remember.
Basically, patriarchy teaches men, especially if they're heterosexual and cis and part of the dominant ethnic group, that they are the peak of society, and therefore when a woman is funny, it somehow diminishes him instead of making him think, wow, this is a really cool person I want to spend more time with because she makes me laugh.
Yeah, I'd rather she be very boring, please.
Well, yeah, I'd rather she listen to my bad jokes and laugh at them because I need my ego constantly stroked because patriarchy makes me constantly insecure about my masculinity and forces me to continually perform it without ever achieving any state of feeling confident in who I am.
Well, that's the annoying thing, or one of the annoying things about it, is the people who feel this way they don't want women to be funny, are themselves the least funny bastards you've ever met in your life. The people are like, see, I've got a really good sense of humour, and it's just racism. Or it's just like, rape joke. I'm hilarious. No, this is really boring. You're a very boring person.
Yeah,
the kind of people who think,
and mean, and it's not funny.
Yeah,
it's not clever. It's just mean.
Oh, they're such a character, and he puts his cock in your pint or something. Just wankers, you know.
Like, fuck off, Greg Gutfeld. Nobody wants you right
Literally, yes. Greg Gutfeld is exactly the type of person I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
What a spigot.
We should bring down women.
What, sorry?
What a glinner.
True.
Women who are talented, women who are rich, women who have power. They want to bring them down below their level and subjugate them because they don't like it when women have that kind of talent or get that kind of attention.
Yep.
Hashtag not all men, etc. And men overwhelmingly don't like Sabrina Carpenter. She has very few men in her fan base. They don't like her very much, even though she is, objectively, incredibly pretty. Men just aren't that interested in Sabrina Carpenter, which makes sense. She's just kind of making sex jokes, but from the female perspective. She's doing all of these lewd sex jokes from a woman's perspective. And that's why she has such a big female fan base. She's making these jokes in a way that's actually funny to women. Because most of the time when people make lewd jokes and sex jokes, they're not funny. It's not funny to women. Women are the butt of the joke. The joke is at the expense of the woman. Almost always.
Yeah,
and it can be about any kind of women.
That's the thing. It's always like just gross and offensive. Like you can be funny without being a prick, you know?
Well, the whole point of it is, again, to reinforce their fragile social egos when it comes to their masculinities.
Yeah.
Right? So by diminishing women, that makes you feel superior to them. By being racist, it makes you feel you're racially superior, right? So it's not at all about humor. It's all about soothing this fragile ego that exists and can't handle equality or challenge or even acknowledge that other people are as good as you. Or better.
And from the sluttiest of sluts, the whores, to the shrivellest, dried up, coldest of prudes, the joke is the woman's sexuality. The woman is being degraded, with the notable exception of, like, small penis jokes.
What would a collection of glinners be called? A grater? A cheese grater of glinners? I don't know.
A sad tweet.
I've always found...
Yeah. A sad midnight wank on your own. Of Twitter, of glinners.
Of glinners.
Yeah. Those jokes really weird because I've never like
a loneliness of glinners.
There you go.
Yeah.
A rejectedness.
Someone has never whipped out their penis and had like a tiny penis, and I've never thought like, oh, too bad. This is so upsetting. I wish he had a huge honker down there. I've never been like upset to see a small penis. Yes, I've just never.
Have you ever been upset to see a small penis, Christo?
No. I don't get that emotionally attached to the size of a penis. I'm more interested in what can be done with it, or, you know, like if that's the context of the situation.
Yeah.
Ever understood that? Like, do other people really just like dislike small penises that much? Because like it's fine if he has a small penis. Like he's got fingers, he can figure it out. You know? Like.
Yeah, I like to get my best work done before Mr. Peepee enters the frame.
Oh God, I've got a thing about this. I'm gonna have to scroll back, because there's actually an Instagram I sent you. Exactly
a divorce of Glinners, an alimony of Glinners. Yeah, a divorce of Glinners is pretty good. Yeah.
Oh dang it! All right, I'm gonna have to find it.
Okay. Well, while you do that.
Yeah. Work with what you've got. It's just never made sense to me. Maybe I'm built different. I don't know. Think of
well, that's the thing. There are, for all of the talk about it, there are very few actual size queens. There are some, but for the most part,
the odd one, yeah.
Most women don't even get off at penile penetration. Like it's not. It doesn't feel bad necessarily, but they're not. That's not the thing that's going to make.
It's
them
not enough.
Come.
It's not on its own. You gotta work a little bit harder than that. You gotta do a bit more.
Exactly.
You gotta like be a drummer, you know, like you gotta do different things with each hand and keep your rhythm going.
Exactly. Work the bass drum, get a good rhythm going, hi hat, boom. But most men can't even find the hi hat. That's the problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Representation you've seen of horny women in media. Think about the horny woman. She's the butt of the joke, usually, isn't she? Like, even Samantha from Sex and the City, whose, like, sexualization was seen as liberating. Often she was still the butt of the joke for being so horny on Maine. Blanche from The Golden Girls. Part of the joke of her character was that she was so horny. And it was groundbreaking that she was allowed to be horny in that role as an older woman, but still, a lot of the time, the fact that she was so horny was the butt of the joke. And then more recent examples that come to mind are from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. There are two female characters who are notably horny on Maine. There's Margaret McFoyle and Artemis. And the joke is that these two women are horny and down to fuck and looking to fuck, but they're not conventionally attractive. They're kind of uggos. They're not conventionally attractive. I disagree with the take that Artemis isn't conventionally attractive. They're not looking where I'm looking right now. But anyway, not important. The joke is that these women are not conventionally attractive, gorgeous women, and yet they want to fuck, and in fact, they want to fuck nasty. Gross, disgusting, sinister even. Sometimes a woman's horniness is even portrayed as sinister. Another example that really comes to my mind is Misery. Now this is debatable. Like, is her character really horny? It's debatable.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'm not sure it's a sexual thing necessarily, is it, with her? Like, it's not. It is a bit ambiguous, but whether they're feeling, I don't know.
I think she kind of almost at first worships him like a god. And then, you know, like she's so in awe of him, but also wants to control him. I think there is a latent sexuality in Misery, but I think it's more about control than it is about
Yeah, like there's sexual imagery, no doubt. Like he's lying in a bed specifically, rather than like on a couch or on the floor, and she inflicts unbelievable physical violence on him. Right? So there's a sexual imagery brought to mind, I suppose, but it's you get the feeling it's just a very unwell person, and it's like a power and control thing, which again can be a part of sex, like the domination submissive thing. And him not enjoying that experience, let's be honest.
I kind of feel like she would have thought sex would have diminished, almost like in a holy way, you know, because he was this author that she really revered, and to do that would actually make him more human.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, yeah. Like she sort of, I think, and clearly, like the fact that she turns so violent is the breakdown of the parasocial element into, oh, he's not the thing I thought he was.
Yeah.
Because no one ever is, of course.
But not to me. Yes, she's horny. Annie Wilkes is horny, and it's sinister and
you can read that into
that she
it,
is
right?
so horny. She's doing horrible things because of that horniness. Horny obsession from a woman is dangerous and scary. And I get it. I, too, am scared of women. I liked that in Poor Things, they sort of kind of subverted this, where her horniness was not a problem. The person who was the main villain of the story was the person who saw her horniness as a problem and wanted to destroy her sexuality to make her more pure. He was the villain. The horniness was not the problem. Horniness is morally neutral. And Sabrina Carpenter is out here singing about being horny on Maine. She's saying things like, hold me, explore me, I'm so fucking horny. Which is relatable. Am I right, bisexuals? Which I assume is my primary audience. Another reason I find her work...
Don't pigeonhole me. But yeah, kind of.
So palatable to young women specifically is that it centers female pleasure. Most, if not like the vast majority of work that features women being sexualized,
Actually,
they're being
yeah,
sexualized.
Maranaka, that's a very good example. Yeah, the kind of bunny boiler trope is that the sexual yearning or whatever of women being dangerous and violent and bad and to be thought of as inherently toxic or whatever. Yeah.
For the male gaze, their sexualization is about male pleasure. And like, sure, there are other artists out there focusing on female pleasure, but the vast majority of everything in society that sexualizes women is about men. Sabrina Carpenter's work very much is about her own sexuality, what she's into, like what she likes being worshipped by these men, what brings her pleasure. Even the song where she's fighting over a man with another woman, especially in the music video, it very much features the relationship between the two women, and the man is almost like set aside. Like, we rarely actually see.
There's also another thing where apparently it's a trope in all of her videos. She kills a man.
Oh, okay.
So like, even though she does this obvious sexualization thing of herself, it's not she's not doing the male gaze, which is why, like at the start, she said she doesn't have a lot of male fans, which seems mental, right? But
Yeah.
she just doesn't.
I found it, and it's in the Discord.
Oh, okay, right. So, do you want me to play that now?
Yeah, before it becomes, because we're still talking about penis size, sort of. So before it becomes, we move on.
Well, I don't know about Kathy Bates and penis size, really. That's
Well, it's kind of in the role of the penis, or some penis based. Penis
well,
informed.
as we know, Christy,
Penis adjacent.
the penis is bad. The gun is
Yes,
good.
the gun is good, according to Zordos or whatever.
Zardos. Yes.
Yes.
The greatest film ever made.
Everybody wants to talk about equality, but there's breast enlargement. What about penis enlargement?
There is. You know what they do is like every man has like.
There is, but it's like incredibly dangerous, and it's as likely to destroy your penis as it is to grow it. Like they essentially sort of have to.
Just
Oh,
play
okay.
it first, and then you can talk about the medical stuff issues.
3 or 4 inches of dick that's like in their body, and they just pull.
So
the
what
rest
you're
of it out.
saying is,
Oh,
I have hope.
if I fucking pull hard enough.
Well, that is in essence what the penis pump thing was supposed to like. That was the theory it was working on, right?
Pull it out.
Yeah, if you just pull it out, so some of the bit that's inside will become outside. Which, like, that does not sound medically healthy. Well, no, because it is. I mean, the tissue, the penile tissue, some of it is still inside, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, the whole point of the penis pump, or the idea of it doesn't work. It's medically very bad. Don't do it. But is that essentially you pump on it and you pull it out?
Yeah.
Which don't do that. Like, I mean, you probably can, but I mean, you could also rip your own arm off with a fucking, I don't know, with some sort of machine, or cut your own toes off. Yeah, you can do it, but you fucking shouldn't.
My body just fucking left me.
I've never heard you guys get more excited about something in your entire lives.
Can you tell we all have small penises? We're like just trying to be average out here.
3 to 4 inches. Is that true? There's just 3 to 4 inches hiding? Because I need you to come out, motherfucker.
Damn, I ain't even got 3 inches right now. Shit. You mean I got more inside me than outside? I'm just a tip. Shit, girl, you want a dick pic, you gonna need to take a fucking x-ray.
That's genius. Yeah, kind of.
Everybody wants to talk about equality.
So there you go.
I'm gonna have to take an X-ray. Chalk it up, people. We've heard another great one tonight. Boom.
See him. We mostly see the relationship between these two women who are fighting over him. And it's kind of rare to see that kind of sexualization where it doesn't necessarily center male pleasure. Because even like horny female anthem, Wet Ass Pussy, kind of centers male pleasure. It's like, my pussy is so wet, I'm so good at fucking. I am so pleasurable to fuck. Now I'm having Ben Shapiro flashbacks.
Mm-hmm.
The boys in the Espresso music video are essentially worshipping Sabrina Carpenter. They're holding her up literally over their heads. They're holding her up as this icon, as this goddess almost. I've seen a lot of takes that are like, she's an Aphrodite archetype, because there's all of these people who are really into the whole, like, archetypes thing. It's not important. They're worshipping her. They're basically accessories for her pleasure. And in many cases, in her work, they're toys that she's playing with or that the girls are fighting over and then making out about. Yeah, but recently, Sabrina Carpenter posted her new album cover for Man's Best Friend. It looks like this.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's the one that I was thinking of.
Yeah. So you did know who she was.
Well,
Sort of.
in the cover, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's that. And since then, she's released 2 other bits of art for this, which are much more fucking tame, basically.
Okay.
Which I think is deliberate because, like, you know, she's sick of the fucking backlash, frankly, over a photograph. Like, you know.
Man's Best Friend is a dog reference, and this is clearly like a pet play reference. Like, to me, that was the very first thought I had. It was like, oh, pet play. Pet play is a kink in which...
Do you do pet play, Christo?
No, I don't. No, don't do pet play. No. I read about it on the boards a lot, and I think Evie does pet play. We've watched some of her videos.
Yes, yeah.
She does pet play, so I mean I'm aware of it, but no, it's not within my bailiwick of. It's not in my toy box.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not in my toy box.
Fair dues.
You pretend to be a dog or any animal, like cats, whatever. You can pretend to be any animal, but it's basically just this kink in which you pretend to be a dog, and it can be about a lot of things. It can be humiliation, it can be degradation, it can even be just about being cared for by another person. Nothing but respect for the pup community on this channel. Woof woof. Kink is contentious in feminist spaces. This is especially true of kinks that fall into like humiliation and degradation categories, but it can be true of basically any kink. Puppy play especially can fall into those categories, though it doesn't have to. It's a very versatile kink. Before I get into the feminism of it all, I just want to say one other discourse that I saw around this image that was told to me by Little Shop of Ali and Ofi Doki. Apparently people were saying that puppy play is only for gay men. It's a gay male specific kink, and straight people shouldn't do it. You're appropriating gay culture if you do puppy play.
Yeah, my culture is not a fucking costume. Take the leash off, okay?
Yeah, I guess, you know, I think, although there are people who like degradation and humiliation, you know, because we're, especially people who are raised in conservative religious cultures that say sex is a dirty thing.
Yeah.
And so being called a naughty girl or a dirty boy is actually a taboo.
Yeah.
So it becomes arousing in that you know you're being transgressive, and the transgression itself is part of the excitement because you were so confined, you know. I mean, not all of this comes from trauma. Some people just like the idea of it or whatever else. It lets them liberate parts of themselves that otherwise they have to keep restrained. Yeah. But I generally, like, when I think of puppy play, it tends to be less about like degradation and humiliation. Honestly, it's more about like having a carer and having someone. I mean, think about how we treat a good person treats your pets.
Yeah.
Right? You stroke them, you baby talk them, you buy them toys. And for the person who's in that role, they can just mentally check out, right? They don't have to think about rent or the bills or papers that are due, you know, if you're at school or whatever, if you're in uni. You just can kind of like have just simple thoughts and be adored.
Yeah.
Right? And there's a simplicity to that where you feel safe and cared for, and someone else is like doting on you and telling you what a good boy you are or what a good girl you are. Think about how people react. If you walk past the street, if you're walking down the street and you see another human being, you won't even necessarily acknowledge their existence, right? But someone with a little puppy comes up. Oh my. Right, I mean, and they get praised. I mean, oh, you did a poo, good boy. Who's my good boy? Such a good dog, right? I mean, who wouldn't want that kind of attention? So at least for me, when I think about pet play, that's kind of more the angle I think about, or at least I read about. I'm not saying it's the only one or exclusive, you know, but you know, I'm sure there are people who like have really large cages and like want to be put in their cage with their toys and take a nap. I don't really know all this stuff, but yeah, I just want to kind of present my impressions of what pet play means, or at least I've seen it represented as.
Yeah, that's fair enough. But yeah, the idea of like gatekeeping queer stuff.
Oh yeah, that's weird. Like, yeah, maybe because you're open about pet play, but I don't remember pet play being, you know, like we were talking about that history of kink and the role of lesbians. Remember, like the lesbian pirates or flaming lesbian pirates or whoever they were, who wrote books about safe words and, you know, normalizing consent and all this sort of stuff back in the 70s. So yeah, pup space. It's not subspace, but it's pup space, by the way.
as a heterosexual. And that is the wildest hot take I've ever heard in my entire life. What do you mean puppy play is only for gay men? What do you mean? Like, just because all of the twinks are wearing pup masks out to the club now doesn't mean that gay men invented the kink or are the only ones participating in it.
And also, like, who's going to stop me?
Yeah,
What the gay mafia are gonna put out hit on me if I do a fucking?
They're gonna be up and down the aisles at PetSmart, making sure nobody buys collars who isn't gonna use it for a dog.
Exactly,
Unless you're
like-
gay. They check your gay card at the register.
Yeah, exactly. They check what breed your dog is just to make absolutely certain.
What do you mean? Like, people of all identities and sexualities engage in kink play? That one was just so inexplicable to me. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? But that wasn't even the main discourse.
Oh
That-
yeah, Paw Patrol.
Ah, that's
Of
good. That's
course.
good. That's very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
It was just
Well
one.
done.
Yeah, ACAB includes dickheads who want to police people's kinks. Okay. The canine unit. Yeah, there are jokes
yeah.
there. Thank you, everybody. Although again, I will just point out, not all dogs work with the police. Okay, just like not all Muslims are in Al Qaeda. Okay, let's not stereotype all canines. Okay.
Bizarre
What was
thing
that?
that I
Can you
saw.
pause it? Sorry. Another thing I saw on Instagram. Someone was like, "What kinds of people are people you wouldn't like?" And the guy goes, "Yeah, I really don't like people who take drugs, like airport security."
Yeah. yeah. NATO calling Trump daddy is way more dangerous of a kink. True.
Ugh,
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. I just
Unfortunately
like a
for my
friend in
men-
Germany, that a lot of Trump people unironically call him daddy, not having any idea
Well,
what
they-
it means.
Yeah. Well, they
in other
literally.
communities.
Well, yeah. But they're literally selling daddy T-shirts in America now.
That's I sent him a picture of those.
They're a cult. They're a weird sex
yeah.
cult for Trump.
Yep.
Gross. Like, I will kink shame that shit. That's gross.
Yeah, I will always shame fascism, whatever form it takes,
Exactly.
kink or not.
I'm steeped in feminist discourse. If the girlies are fighting, I'm reading about it. This is not good for my mental health. I don't recommend living like this. I was much happier touching grass. But unfortunately, we live in a society. And in that society is a group of people called kink-critical feminists. This is like gender critical or porn critical or sex work critical. They pop that critical on the end there to make it look like they're just asking questions. But they're not asking questions. They're just against it.
Yeah, exactly. They just anti.
No, they're
that
trying
thing.
they're trying to come across as, well, they're trying to co-opt critical theory in order to look like they have an academic structure and integrity behind them, when basically they're just being shitheads and bigots.
Yeah. Oh god, does Trump get his kicks when his daughter calls him daddy?
Ew.
Oh, that made my skin crawl.
Yeah.
I mean, because the answer is probably yes.
Well,
That's
he
the
said
thing.
he'd want to date her, so
He obviously wants to fuck his daughter so
Mhm.
bad. It's, oh god, he's fucking grotesque.
he is. He's a monstrosity.
They're just against kink. The main point of the kink-critical feminist community is that engaging in kinks, especially ones that involve humiliation, degradation, or even physical violence, restraints, are bad because they degrade women and normalize the abuse of women. I will not be quoting Andrea Dorgan. The tag...
Okay, but like women aren't the only people who, I mean, you have non-binary people, you have gay men and gay women, and pan people and straight guys. There are so many horny heterosexual male subs out there that literally I could go every day
Really,
of the
Krista?
week.
How do you know about this?
I could go every day of the week out and meet another heterosexual man who is desperate to be dominated. So I don't.
Christy, do you not walk on the ground anymore? You just walk on male testicles. Everywhere you go, they're just subs
No,
offering
I'm
themselves up as
soft. I'm
human
soft and
carpets.
I'm like praising and very protective, and I'm very.
But you
sweet.
will stub a cigarette out on them. Yeah. Okay,
No,
that's
but
fine.
I might put you across my knee and spank you.
Christy, I'm too much. I'd fucking squash her.
Yeah, you say that.
Yeah. You're only small, and I'm a big fat cunt. So like.
So, I mean, I don't know how much when you want my take on this. We can hear a little bit more about the so-called kink-critical feminism, which is basically just conservative women pretending. This is like,
Yeah, they're not
you know,
feminists. Yeah.
yeah, this is like trans hating people who are like, yeah, like fear the penis, even though trans women are women, and you know, like have nothing to do with the predators in the cis male community that you're worried about.
But it's good to fear the penis because again, the penis is bad. The
Mm,
gun is
mhm.
good.
And the gun is good, according
Yeah.
to Zordas.
According
Yeah.
to Zordas, yes.
So let me know when you want my take.
Whenever.
Well, we can. I mean,
Yeah,
if you wanna hear more, then-
we'll make some progress.
Yeah.
For the Tumblr community for kink-critical feminism. It is a pretty wild place. I saw this post, which I don't think has anything to do with kink, but it says, dick sucking and pussy eating being in the same category is insane to me, because one of these things is clearly not like the other. One of these things is clearly much more invasive. They are not in the same category.
What?
Bitch, if eating pussy is not invasive,
You're not doing it right.
Yeah, you're not doing it right. What are you talking about? What do you do? What you're eating pussy from a distance? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
If I could fit my fucking head up there, I would. What?
You know, so let me pause. Okay, I guess this is basically wanting to. It's kind of like a bigotry of essentialism. It always wants to frame things in terms of violence against women without actually looking at what's happening in a healthy kink dynamic. So, I mean, there's unethical kink, or at least there are people who claim to be like dominants or subs who are really just looking to manipulate people under the guise of, just like any other con, whether it's real estate or health supplements or whatever else. You know, there's always going to be people who want to take advantage of a situation because they're assholes. But people who in good faith engage in a kink dynamic, if you go through it, I mean, we remember Michaela? No. Years ago. Is it Michaela? No.
Who are you? What?
The person who was also like a very kink positive person back in the Bearing days. Michaela. I'm sorry, we have a Michaela at work. Michaela? Do you remember Michaela Kennan?
No.
Trans man?
Oh yes. Oh, sorry. You know, I still very, very occasionally come across them on Facebook or whatever. Yes.
Yes, in a polyamorous kind
Indeed,
of
yeah.
and stuff. And he pointed out that, you know, actually talking about what you're going to do with somebody when you go home to have sex with them, or if they come over and you want to have sex or do something with them, before you even kiss, right? You kind of like have a discussion about, well, I would like to do this to you, and then maybe you could do this to me. Do you have some ideas about what you want to do? And rather than this sort of vanilla sex way, which is you sort of stumble forward and you stick a finger up a butt and you hope it's okay. You know, that's vanilla sex, is you do things without getting consent beforehand. And that's not how it goes with kink. You talk about stuff. You actually negotiate. Like you say exactly what each of you want to do, or you want done to you. You can make requests and kind of plan it out, and then you do the things that you said you were going to do.
Yeah, but I just love the way you said that. Like it was, oh, why not throw in an onion?
Well,
like
yeah,
it was a recipe. It was like, yeah, you stick a finger up an ass, you know. So,
yeah, you know, because that's kind of how things go with vanilla sex. It's always like, oh, I'll try this and see if he says no, or I'll try this and see if she pushes my hand away, as opposed to like communicating about what
talking
each of you
about
want.
some shit.
Yeah, and what your boundaries are and what you want that night.
Like I've never been. Obviously, I'm not a kink person,
Yeah.
right? But I've always been far more open about that shit. Like,
Mm.
I'll just straightforwardly say if like I'm on a date or whatever, and you know it's getting that way, just like this is the shit I'm into, or this is the shit I don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're already well aware of that before anything happens.
I think that's pretty rare in vanilla sex.
Yeah, unfortunately, it is. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I mean, if someone is going to go across my knee, they've already been asked about it, how they feel, and they've consented to that, and they're doing it with enthusiastic consent.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's what I think the critical stuff really misses, is the open communication, the radical honesty, and the consent that is ongoing. And you know, people check in. That's why we have a safe word system. And it's not just red, right? A lot of people use stoplights. Green means go, everything's good. Yellow means, can we take a break for a second? You know, can we just pause this? And red means, I need to stop. Something's wrong. We need to end the session completely. And checking in with your partner and saying, hey, you know, how are things going? Or feeling safe enough to go, oh, yellow, you know, like I've got a crimp in my leg. Okay, it's all good now. Let's keep going, kind of thing. Because that communication is so important. And the other thing that I wanted to mention was, I trained for about 10 months as a massage therapist and did literally hundreds of hours of training and classroom and in the practicum and whatever else. And the thing about doing massage therapy is you can do what's called like a buff and puff, they call it. That's just Swedish massage. It's nice, you go and you touch around and you use very fluid strokes, but you don't press the muscles. You don't try to work out any of the tension. The whole thing is like send them to sleep, right? Make them feel very good and relaxed. But if you have sore muscles, there is literally nothing that massage has done for you.
Yeah.
Nothing, right? On the other hand, you have like, say, sports massage or trigger point therapy, where you find the sore muscle and you start to manipulate it. And muscles that don't have enough oxygen hurt because they're ischemic. They don't have enough oxygen. So when you start to work on them, there's pain involved. And you don't want to get to the point as a massage therapist where someone is in so much pain that they're gritting their teeth and tensing up, because that's just undoing all the work that you've done to get the rest of their body relaxed. So you want to find the good hurt. You want to find the point where they can breathe into the discomfort, pain sometimes, because as soon as you start to manipulate an ischemic muscle or a muscle lacking oxygen, it starts to get more blood in there and it starts to oxygenate and it starts to lessen the pain. So I always used a 1 to 10 scale, and I asked people to aim for like a 7, which is I'm not gritting my teeth, I'm not tensing up, but that's uncomfortable, right? Because that 7 becomes a 6, becomes a 5, becomes a 4, becomes a gone. And so this idea that, pain is always bad, people get tattoos. Why? Sometimes for the artwork, but also they enjoy the sensation of getting a tattoo. Some people get piercings because they like the rush of dopamines that you get from the pain element. And that happens in kink as well.
Well, that's why, there's even a stranger example is food. The reason that people go for the hottest curry or the hottest chili or whatever is literally that physical sensation of burning, of the kind of pain that gives you that dopamine rush. Yeah,
exactly. Right. So there's that element of it that, and again, that where you're checking in, you have a safe system, and also in kink we have what's called aftercare, which is if you are the top or the dominant in the scene, or the play session. I prefer play session than scene. Scene sounds very theatrical, and I don't do cosplay, so play session to me is a little bit more closer to what we do. When you make someone a happy mess of bliss, you don't just walk away from them. There's a whole thing involved with it, which is aftercare, where you take them down, you get them water, you wrap them in a blanket. If they want to be left alone, you leave them alone. If they just want quiet, you just sit with them quietly. If they're hungry, you get them something to eat, and you help them come back to the world in a safe environment, so that, because there's all these chemicals rushing through their bodies. And I think one person described it as a factory reset of his brain, needing time to come back to the world. And that doesn't really happen. People cuddle in sex, but then you just roll over and fall asleep. And there's more
yes,
of
I fucking do.
Yeah, so in a kink play session, there would be more of a care, and then the person who did it would also get care, because they did, they worked hard during the play session as well. So they would get some reciprocal care, and maybe even a debrief, like, how did it go for you? Was there things that you really liked? Were there things that surprised you? Were there ideas you have for next time? So it's very different from like a typical vanilla sex experience.
Christy, I imagine that you have a PowerPoint presentation.
Good.
Yeah, so let's deal with the positives first, and you go through and you break it down. There's probably a spreadsheet in there, maybe a pie chart, perhaps.
And we haven't even talked about power exchange yet. Where the dog, that kind of like the dominant sub.
I believe she does talk about this in a little bit.
So just in terms of this, I think this critical feminist, this kink-critical, just sounds like honestly transphobic, angry lesbians who somehow find anything that involves a penis threatening. Yeah. Or you get the transphobic men who basically want someone to bully. And it just is another way to shame women, but from a trans perspective.
Yeah. Well, in essence, it's the heart of all conservatism is what can we get away with doing that's mean and cruel?
Yeah, how horrible can we be to someone?
Like we can't go after Jewish people that much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We can't go after like this group or that group. Oh, trans people, because they've got like this. Oh well, trans people in sport, as if any of them give a fuck about women's sport.
No, not at all.
Oh, Jesus Christ. You've not attended one women's sporting event in your entire life, but all of a sudden you care about the fucking Missouri State lacrosse team that's got one trans person. Fuck off.
Oh, and there's also a phrase, you can hurt someone without harming them.
Yes.
Consensually.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Then yeah, sure, maybe the way you're doing it. I'm built different.
Yeah, exactly. If you're eating pussy and it's not invasive, it's skill issue.
Yeah, what are you doing here?
Yeah, I don't know what thing you think you're doing, but it's not that.
Talk to you about kink. I want to talk to you about kink. But mostly what I want to talk to you about kink about.
Explain vanilla to that chapter. Well, I can't, but I'll allow Christy to do so. What's your interpretation of the word vanilla?
Vanilla is what is usually the encompassing adjective for what is not kinky. Now that's got some gray lines in it because, again, like to what extent are certain acts vanilla or not? It might just depend on the person, but it tends to refer to sex that doesn't involve power exchange. So if you know what that
boring
phrase means,
hetero shit.
Yeah, it might involve some things like light bondage, or getting a feather tickler, but really not serious kind of restraints or bondage, sadomasochism or domination. Basically kinky sex. I think vanilla sex is very, especially let's say heterosexual, vanilla sex would be very PIV focused. And the male orgasm is sort of like the climax of the movie. It's sort of the thing that the whole act is built around. Whereas kink, you might not even have sex in a kink session because that's not the goal of the session or the play session. Yeah, the play. Yeah.
Okay, here's one that does center the male orgasm, but I think would still be kink. Would be G-spot stimulation.
Yeah, I mean, I would call that. I mean, if you're just like, so let's say fingering, blowjobs, oral sex. If it's kissing, using your fingers, using your mouth, penis goes somewhere, or things get rubbed together, or maybe a dildo comes out, and that's sort of, and both people are like, there's no power exchange, nobody's restrained, there's no like role playing going on, then that's would be considered vanilla sex.
Okay.
So it's sort of like considered typical. And it's not meant to be like, vanilla is one of my favorite flavors. So don't think of, so it's like straight and gay, like it's vanilla and kinky. It's kind of in the same way, like vanilla and straight seem to me a little bit of like parallel thoughts, in just that it tends to be the most typical.
Yeah.
Is hobby weirdos, people who are really into their hobby weirdos. Because here's the thing about people who are into kink. They're hobby weirdos. They're weirdos who are really into their hobby. Well, a lot of them, it's not like a normal chill hobby. This is like their thing. This is the one hobby they're really into. That thing for them is kink. And it's usually some specific subcategory of kink play that they're really, really into. And that's what they do with their free time. And this is not even necessarily a sex thing. A lot of asexuals are into kink. They just like the kink part and not the sex part of it.
Exactly.
Are you open to telling us what your thing is? You don't have to. It's very personal, I understand.
Well, I mean, I'm into soft dominance.
Okay. And what's soft dominance?
So I guess what I mean by soft dominance is that, I'll just quote a YouTuber who said, when you have, and it's not as strict a line as this, but if you have the stereotype of the dominant woman or the femdom, she's probably like in some sort of leather pencil skirt with a white buttoned up shirt with a librarian thing with a bun on her head, and she's got her sub on his knees, maybe on all fours, before her saying yes mistress and please mistress or whatever else. So if that is the stereotype of one type of dominance, so the sub would sort of like crawl to you in like reverence and maybe a little bit of fear, I'm scared but I'm aroused. I think isn't that a meme? by someone this thing out there, like a halfling meeting two giant women, being like, I'm scared, but I'm also slightly aroused. But soft dominance, you create a place where your sub can just melt into your arms because they trust you so much. So I tend to think of it more like, I want my sub to feel like a Labrador puppy that just wants to roll over in front of me and give me his belly to rub. That kind of trust, that I'll take care of him, that he will be safe with me, that he will be valued, and feel very like appreciated and praised for being a good boy. Yeah. So it's not done with, but it's more like persuasive than demanding.
Well, all I'll say is, I think there are going to be a lot of disappointed cat boys out there who go into being housemaids, and it's a lot more about vacuuming and less about cock.
Service subs, yeah.
Yeah, like it's mostly like cleaning a toilet, and you're not. Yeah. There's no fucking really, and it's minimum wage.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it might not even be minimum wage if you're a service sub.
True. Anyway.
You just get to clean the house naked and be, like, feel.
I do that. I vacuum naked regularly. Fuck it, it's my house. What are you gonna do?
But would you vacuum someone else's house naked while she watched or he watched?
No, I'm not vacuuming. I don't like vacuuming my house. I'm not vacuuming someone else's fucking house. You do it yourself, lazy bastard. Anyway.
Like Evie Lupine is a channel on YouTube you can check out. She's asexual. She's fully asexual on main, but just loves doing all the kink stuff. Yeah, so let me talk to you about hobby weirdos. Have you ever hung out with jugglers? Yeah, I've hung out with a lot of jugglers.
Not to be mixed up with juggalos.
No. By the way, the Venn diagram of people who play D&D and people who are kinky.
Circle.
Yeah, not quite, but.
No, it is. No, come on.
It's some of them don't know it how kinky they are yet.
Exactly. It's just if they're not in the circle, they haven't realised it yet. Yeah.
In my time, and they're weirdos. Jugglers are weirdos. I find overwhelmingly that the juggler community has a much higher prevalence of autism than the general population, which makes sense if you've hung out with jugglers, which I have. But all people who are really into one hobby and kind of all consumed by this one thing that they're into are like this to more or less degrees. If you talk to a juggler about juggling, they're so excited that someone is actually interested in their weird niche hobby, and they will talk to you for hours about this weird niche hobby. They're like, you want to hear about juggling? I'll tell you about juggling. I can talk about juggling for 4 billion hours. Let's go. And they'll tell you all about... I wasn't listening. They were a bunch of fat, hairy, bald men, and I was just... I was too horny. I wasn't listening to what they were saying.
Yeah.
Sorry. But people who are really into this hobby or really into one thing that's all consuming in their life, they're weirdos. And they also have this problem where they think that other people know more about their hobby than they do. XKCD did a comic about this, about experts. The one I see mostly reposted is one about monster fucking, but this is the original. It's basically like experts overestimate how much people know about the thing that they're into. And these weird hobbyists are the same way. Like if you tell someone who's really into yoga that you don't know, like if you don't know the basics of yoga, they're gonna be like, what the fuck do you mean you don't know anything about this? What the fuck do you mean? Because yoga is their entire life. And they're mean about it. People who are really into yoga are mean. So people at this high level of whatever weird thing they're into, they don't realize that the average population doesn't know a goddamn thing about it. And if they ever learned that, they would think that the average person was a weird little freak for not knowing anything about their hobby. Because everyone in their life...
See, I feel this way with cricket. If you don't know about it, I think less of you. You're just wrong. Now, I get... If it much like evangelists going to the New World or whatever, if you haven't been exposed to cricket yet, you are without sin.
You get some exemptions.
Exactly, but once I've told you and you don't take it on completely and utterly, then you're going to hell.
Yeah, if you're like from India, Pakistan, Australia,
you've got no excuse. No excuse. Christy, you lived in Britain for a bit, so like, you know.
I do know a bit about the cricket. I have listened to cricket when I was hungover because it's very good background for hangover.
Because there's ambient noise.
Yeah. Very rarely does there any like loud things happen.
Hours can go by. With basically nothing happening.
Just burbling, just people burbling, occasionally some cracks and a little woo. Yeah.
Knows about the thing that they're into. They've surrounded themselves with other jugglers, other mean yoga people, or whatever they're into. And so they actually have no idea how much the average population knows or recognizes the thing that they're really into. Kinksters in general really overestimate how much the average person knows about kink. I would say. Like when I go to kink meetups, these people who are really into rope or shibari, although they will tell you it's actually called rope. It's not shibari. Shibari is a slightly different thing. It's not important. They will assume that I know what a bite is or what.
Shibari, isn't that the dog?
No, it's a Japanese style of rope binding, and then like a bite
I'm
is
joking.
yeah, okay. A bite is a certain way of folding the rope. Yeah,
Shiba Inu is the type of Japanese dog.
Okay.
You know, the Doge dog.
Oh, the Doge dog is a
It's
whatever.
Shibu Ina or something?
Sure.
Cool.
What a gravity boot is, and I do, but how would they know that? They just assume people know more than they do. Jugglers assume I know what a rainbow cross is. And kinksters would assume that everyone would recognize this image as a kink thing. This is pet play, this is maybe like power exchange or degradation. It's some kind of kink power exchange play. Obviously.
Yeah, that's what
this
I
looks
saw.
verbatim, almost exactly like a scene from that Nicole Kidman movie about a weird problematic kink relationship, like power exchange relationship, Baby Girl, which was just okay. But people who aren't kink weirdos interpreted this as a throwback to old school sexism. They didn't see kink at all. Cheyenne Lynn, in her video, referenced these old 1950s advertisements that were really sexist.
Glamorizes domestic violence is purposefully reminiscent of sexist vintage ads that demean women, and how the satire falls completely flat. Showing women as bitches and as man's best friend by reproducing sexist imagery, but a woman's doing it so it's fine, hasn't gone over very well, and many women are sick of this pop feminist bullshit.
She viewed this as a reference to like old school sexist ideas of
Why does it have to be pop feminist anything? It's just
because they want to shit on people trying to make feminism more accessible.
Well, it doesn't even have to be feminism at all. It's just a piece of art. It doesn't necessarily have to have that message to it. It could just be, yeah, she's horny.
So the thing is, so I frequent a BDSM subreddit on Reddit, and we have things that kind of come in waves, like a lot of questions about brats or a lot of questions about, I'm not going to go into all the topics, but there's, in the last couple of weeks or whatever, there's been a lot of, how can I get my boyfriend to be more dominant? You know, like I've told him what I want, but he really won't do it. And can I get him to be more dominant, or am I just going to have to accept that he's not going to do this? And so I think that, I guess now we can kind of talk about power exchange, right?
Right.
So power exchange is basically, again, another thing in kink where one person consensually, where both people consensually agree that the submissive person is going to give up some degree of power to the dominant person, who will then have the responsibility of caring for that person and running the scene and doing the aftercare, and also protecting their physical and emotional and mental well-being at all times, in the most ethical kinds of kink that you can practice. And in that, so I used to, I kind of, before I really started to explore kink, I thought there were only really two types of power dynamics in relationships. One is a patriarchal one, which I hated, and the other one is egalitarian, which, you know, both people are equal. But as I got deeper into kink, I realized that power, you can also think of it like a ball, like a beach ball, and one person can willingly hand that ball over to somebody else for some amount of time or a longer amount of time. It depends on what they negotiate. And because both people are doing it consensually and they've talked about what the rules are and the boundaries and they have safe words, that's okay. And that the other thing that comes, like, I guess that I didn't really expect was when someone kind of like gives you that power, the responsibility that comes with it to take care of that person makes me feel actually quite protective of them.
Right.
And that promotes a kind of intimacy that I didn't experience in my vanilla relationships. And so, at least from my side, from the dominant side, when someone trusts me enough to give me power, that's a gift. Submission is a gift that should be honored and respected. And you show that respect by keeping open communication, by getting debriefs, asking for criticisms, right? And constantly co-creating the dynamic with that other person. For the submissive, I think what happens when they let go of power is a really tremendous amount of freedom. If you're with someone you trust completely, they can restrain your hands and ankles, they can blindfold you, maybe even put a gag in you, and you feel, and be naked with them, and you feel completely safe.
Yes.
And you don't have to think. You don't have to perform. You're basically kind of like there to receive or like be instructed. You don't have to think about when to do things with your mouth or your hands, because that other person will tell you. You are just there to be and to experience. And whether that's the stinging sensation of a flog, flogger on you, or the soft kisses or hair, like someone putting their hair, hands in your hair at the root and kind of pulling it gently to like make you turn your head or whatever else so that they can, kiss you on the neck or whatever they want to do with you. It's just complete freedom. And I think that that's what that image doesn't really, like, that's what I see in that image, is someone who has basically is freed from all the responsibilities, and she's being taken care of by the person who has her by the hair, as it were. And so I don't see degradation, I see liberation.
A question from chat. Is this also not just infantilizing women, typically patriarchal mindset, a call from inside the house type situation?
I see a lot of women on the Reddit saying, I'm a feminist, but in the bedroom, I just want to let go and be dominated and feel not like a bad feminist, because in my daily life, I run a business, I'm responsible for 7 people or whatever else their lives involve. And I think this kind of questioning of women's ability to hand over power when on their terms, consensually, is an infantilization. Yeah.
Okay.
Putting women in their place because she's not a kink weirdo, I assume. And so when people recognize this immediately, their brain says, this is old school sexism. This is like a reference to putting a woman in her place, like those 1950s ads about spanking your wife or whatever. So when someone is like, no, it's a kink thing, their immediate response to that is, you can't excuse sexism by just saying that it's a kink thing. Like, it being a kink does not excuse this obvious degradation and humiliation of women. This is problematic. You can't just say, no, it's not problematic because it's...
Well, I mean...
But she's the one making the image.
I was about to say, like, it's her song, it's her album, it's her art. She dictates entirely what this is. She's clearly a big enough artist where it's not being imposed upon her. Like, she fills stadiums. Like, I imagine she has a fair amount of creative control over all of that. So it's not degradation of women, it's degradation of her on her terms. If indeed that even is the message or whatever, I don't know. It's I'm sure it's complicated, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's, again, we talked about how she plays with these ideas, man's best friend, obviously, and then pet play, and then the power dynamic. Also by almost in some ways subverting patriarchy by claiming that submissive role, but from an empowered position rather than from one where it's imposed on you by patriarchy. Choosing to submit to someone because you trust them or you want to hand over your power to them for a while, whatever their sexuality or their gender identity might be, is very different from being told from birth, you are there to serve men and make babies, and that is your function in life. That's the most you can aspire to. These are very different things.
It's my kink. That's immediately their response to that. For example, here's a cartoon from the Kink-critical community about how what they call liberal feminists will excuse a man abusing.
Okay, so let's read this one. So the top panel says, the man says, yeah, I live insulting and hitting girls. Why? And they say, you monster, how can you say this without any shame? Oh girl, you silly insulting and hitting bitches is my kink. And then she says, kink? I'm so sorry for kink shaming you. I didn't know you were a dummy daddy. Because that's how that works.
So there are men who are abusers who will call themselves doms in order to excuse their bad behavior, and what we call that is red flags.
Yeah. But like, no, but I'm not suggesting that the man isn't an accurate character in some respect, but the idea that the woman in that situation is going to go, oh, he said it's a kink, therefore I've gone from despising to wanting to fuck this person in an instant.
Yeah, I can no longer criticize, I must submit.
Yeah, like it's, are women that fucking dumb? Is that what this is suggesting? Because that's like, that seems to be what they're hinting at there, that women are so brain dead that's a reaction they would have to that, which I don't think rings very true. Just saying.
Using women if he says that it's a kink thing, which has not been my experience. A lot of radical feminist communities, online and modern ones mostly, like back in the day, things were a little different. But especially nowadays in online radical feminist communities, these communities think that women are stupid. They don't like women. They hate women. And they think that women are too stupid to understand their big-brained ideas about how women are actually inferior and stupid and weak and need to be protected in separate spheres. Oh, sorry. Not separate spheres, like the Victorian ideology about how women are weak and pure and need to be protected and sequestered from public life for their own safety. No, not that. No. These are female safe spaces, biological women only, to protect women because biological males are so much stronger and smarter than we are that we must be protected from them. It's different. It's feminist. I say this all the time, but so much online ideology nowadays is this old school Victorian sexism about how women are weak and pure and need to be protected from male corruption and power by being sequestered away from public life. It's just that repackaged using leftist and feminist buzzwords. That is not feminist. I'm trying so hard not to use the word psyop. The Kink-critical, Sabrina Carpenter included, I assume.
Well, it's not even a psyop. It's just like the kind of radical, so to speak, lesbian separatist thing of being like women can't be around men. It's not safe. Therefore, we need to completely hive ourselves off. Which, like, don't get me wrong. I think people who've been through trauma, that's an understandable response. And just looking at society more generally, I can understand women being fucking wary of men. But that's not a healthy attitude to existence, frankly, and doesn't solve the problem. Because where are you going to go to where there are no men?
And also trans women are women. So this whole thing
about
we don't want men in women's toilets, so it's okay because trans women are women. So, you know, I've never understood why the existence of predatory cis men, the people who should pay the penalty for that are trans women. Why are trans women paying the penalty for what fucked up, like, heterosexual cis men are doing?
Yeah.
You know?
Indeed, yes.
Oh, there was one person here who says they like to brat because they like to be kind of quote unquote forced to do something. And I think that's also a form of consensual play where, you know, you've done this with people like, oh yeah, make me. And then you do some sort of tussling or wrestling or whatever. And the other person like wins, right? But it's all understood within the dynamics of what you've agreed. You're never actually like forced to like do things against your will when you're like a kink brat, you know, to the point where it's becoming trauma. You know, this is again why we have safe words, so that if things start to cross a line, you can stop things and check in and explain what's going on. So.
Sure. Well, the only kink I'm interested in, Christy, as you well know, is Findom and my pay pigs.
Your pay pigs.
My pay
oink,
pigs
oink.
in chat.
Toot toot oink oink.
Yeah, you can be my pay pig in the form of bits and subs and memberships and super chats and all of that shit, and I will read them out as your dom. Fucking hell, it's weird. It feels weird, man.
Would obviously just recognize this as a kink right away. Like, this is clear and recognizable. But to people who aren't kink weirdos, this went right over their heads, and immediately their thought was intimate partner violence, domestic abuse. Most people who aren't kink weirdos really don't understand the difference and don't see a distinction between those two things. I'm just going to describe the image. A faceless man in a suit is holding on and pulling Sabrina Carpenter's hair as she
Well, we don't. I mean, it's male coded because it's like traditional, but we don't know that it's.
Yes. The other thing, he's not really pulling her hair. Daddy. He's holding it. I mean, if you look at it, he's not.
It's
pulling
limp,
at it tight.
really.
Yeah, it looks a bit more like a loose leash, as it were. You know. And she's okay, so, and she's not showing any pain or discomfort, just to say,
exactly, and she's literally sort of reaching for his cock,
basically.
Like this is clearly like, thank you, Bear von Cockslap, who says oink oink pet me daddy. What do you get for £2, Kev? I'll show you a nipple. It's a boy nipple. It's a boy nipple, so it's fine.
Yeah. That's not criminal. Mine would be criminal, though.
Exactly. Well, you've got naughty nips. That's a sentence I just
she's
said.
basically asking us if you're right. Lithium. I think you're asking us. She's asking us if we want to sit in the cup chair.
Oh shit! I didn't even realize. Yeah, because she's looking out and she's like, So there's another. The perspective of the camera is the person in the cup chair. Yeah. Oh, okay. I hadn't even considered that angle. Yeah. That's a good point.
Falls on the floor in front of him like a dog. She reaches one hand up towards his penis and looks into the camera with a look of mild pleasure, perhaps. This is, to them, a pinup girl being abused by this faceless man, this embodied representation of the patriarchy. Of course, the reality is Sabrina Carpenter hired this man to do this to her as part of her multi-million-dollar branding.
Yeah, she's gonna make fucking like $20 million or something from this. Like, yeah, no, she's all right. Yeah, it's all good.
And, you know, until the album drops, it's going to be unclear as to exactly what this means in the context of the album. But some people posit that she actually meant it that way. She meant it as a depiction of the way that men mistreat and abuse her, and yet she keeps crawling back. It's not so much a glorification, so much as just an accurate depiction of the way that men treat her. And even the title fits.
And that's sort of the beauty of art, is you can interpret it any way you fucking want to. Yeah. Yeah.
Man's best friend. She's being treated like a dog, and yet also expected to always be pleased to see him and loyal, and embodying idealized femininity at the same time. This fits into a concept that I think we can view this as running through a lot of Sabrina Carpenter's work. It's called hetero.
Okay, I'm just going to put this out there now, though, right? Thank you to... Oh, it said anonymous, but I know, but it's a person called Sogana My Dick. So that's, yeah. Daddy, I've been a naughty piggy. Kick me, oink, oink. I did promise a nipple.
Yeah.
Okay, righty or lefty? I'll let Christy choose.
Lefty.
Lefty nip nips. Okay. There we go. Oh, hello. What's happening there? Cheeky bit of nip nop. Anyway, done.
Heterofatalism. Heterofatalism is this idea that heterosexuality for women is incredibly difficult, dangerous, and horrible. That being attracted to men is essentially a curse.
Why would that be a problem for partner push? Boy nipples are fine and perfectly
100%.
legal.
You
It's
can
not.
stream with your shirt off and it'd be fine.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I wasn't on camera, but I did have my shirt off over the last few days, or at a point last week, because it was just too hot. So I was sweating my balls off, and I was literally doing it in my boxers. You couldn't see it, but I was. Yeah. Kev, I'm getting as hairy as you. Still can't grow a fucking beard, though. Well.
Aw.
Skill issue. No, I'm only joking. Look, it comes out of my face. I'd happily stop it. I've said this before with my hair and my beard. There's an ideal length that I like. So if I could just get to that and just switch off.
Yeah.
And just
stop
stay
hair
at
from
that.
growing.
Yeah, like, why'd you have to do this? I'm watching this in a restaurant, Kev. Well.
That's on you.
Clearly I'm the tastiest thing on the menu then. Boom.
It sucks. But it's largely inescapable because they're heterosexual. Dating men is a constant series of horrors, but they can never escape because, 1, they are attracted to men and want to be with a man, and 2, society expects them to continue going through this horrible, dangerous, degrading process of dating men. And Carpenter's new single, Man-Child, laments her attraction to men, specifically her attraction to what she dubs man-children, who are these immature, useless, stupid, irresponsible men that treat her badly, and yet she's continually attracted to them. She keeps falling for men like this. The song can be read as pretty much textbook heterofatalism. This can stop at, it sucks to be straight, I wish I was a lesbian, which is what a lot of straight women say to lesbians. I'll get into that later. It can stop there, or it can fall down this rabbit hole into what's called black pill feminism. Black pill feminism is one of the worst online communities I've ever seen. It's pretty bad. Essentially, these black pill...
It's basically WGTOW.
Yeah. Yeah.
Women going their own way. But just like MGTOW, they haven't actually gone their own way. They're just annoying cunts on the internet.
Yeah, they keep enforcing or intruding on everyone else's lives to tell us how miserable they are.
Yeah.
Go away.
I'm
I'm going my own way.
Yeah, I've gone my own way, yet I talk about women far more than any other group in the world. Yeah. Amazing.
Pill feminists are people who've taken the black pill and realized that women are all just stupid, dick-addicted whores who are too stupid to realize that they're being mistreated and that pairing with men will never work and never work out for them because men are evil and bad and will always degrade them. Unfortunately, women...
To be fair, men are evil. This is true.
Are too stupid to realize this and too addicted to cock, so they don't care. They just let themselves be abused. They're allowing it to happen to them because they're stupid, cock-addled whores. But not us black-pilled feminists. We're not like other girls. We're better. We've realized this, and we're abstaining from cock. We're doing Addicts Anonymous for cock. And women will never be liberated because women are too stupid. And
you don't want to go cold turkey on cock, though.
Honestly, this again reminds me of like 1970s edgy feminism.
Yeah, it's just dumb.
You know, sex boycotts and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
self-subjugate themselves for dick. So women will never be liberated, ever, because women are too stupid. And you know what? They don't even deserve to be liberated anyway, because this is just the natural state of things. Patriarchy is just the natural state of things, and we'll never escape it. We've taken the black pill. We're so much smarter.
Black pilling is so weird because it's look, any political movement or social movement or whatever you can fall into this trap.
Yeah.
Like I've heard socialists say like, working class people who will vote for Tories or whatever, and they'll be like, they don't even fucking deserve socialism. Why should I bother? Okay, I mean, your heart's really in the right place then, is it, chap? Fucking hell. And it's always some posh cunt, obviously.
Yeah.
Harder than everyone. Again, most online radical feminism is just, I'm not like other girls. I'm so smart. And other women are stupid. The vast majority of hot takes online from any kind of radical feminist community is just that, in my opinion, most of the time. So heterofatalism, at least the more mild strain of it, does seem to run through a lot of Carpenter's work. It sucks to be straight, and as I said, lesbians hear this a lot. Straight women are always talking to lesbians and saying, I wish I were gay, it'd be so much easier to date women, women are so much better. You just want to say...
Do you wish you were gay, Christo?
Well, I'm bisexual, so...
Okay, do you wish that half of you that wasn't gay was gay?
No. I like my options. I like judging, I like being able to... What is Annie DeFranco said something along the lines of, like, I just want to, meet the person behind you. Like, I want to connect with you on a human level, not necessarily worry so much about whether or not you meet a criteria for genitals.
I mostly want to poke out kidneys. I'm just
Whatever,
saying.
In a hole somewhere.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. That's pretty much... I will blow out any back walls.
Whatever.
They're not. Having dated men and women and the rest of us, dating just sucks. Dating is horrible. Things are not all that much better in lesbian land. They are maybe a little better, but not all that much better, because people, human beings, are toxic. And gender can and does correlate with certain types of socialization outcomes, but that is not a 100% correlation. Like, you get some very toxic women and some very sweet men, and it's not 100% correlated.
Oh, they should give me a shout out. Oh, thanks. Good, I'm really sweet. I appreciate it.
Yeah. It's nice to be seen.
With gender, if they're going to be shitty, immature pieces of shit. Women are not perfect, pure angels, and men are not horrible, corrupt, evil monsters. Dating is just hard. So back to the image. Is this a kink thing? Is it social commentary? Is it, as some people have said, glorifying abuse? A big critique in the kink-critical feminist community is that kink glorifies abuse and normalizes the abuse.
Okay, what does this say? To the women who say they enjoy violent sex / that's consensual non-consent, isn't it?
Correct, CNC.
/ kinks. You are hurting all the whammins. You are hurting sexual assault victims. You are hurting domestic violence victims. You are emboldening abusive men. You are allowing men to sexualize abuse women under the guise of consent. You need to fix your relationships with sex, or at bare minimum, stop fucking telling us about it. Like, I mean, I get that if you don't want to hear about it, fine.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean other people can't talk about it, and you might hear it somewhere.
Yeah.
Like, how fucking entitled are you? Jesus.
When it comes to CNC, I don't have 100% of all CNC experiences, but honestly, I generally see this more with heterosexual women,
right,
who want to live out a kind of like, again, there's about a kind of a liberation of being forced to do something that you kind of secretly want to do. In this case, but you have to put up a fight because you want to preserve your honor. Does this make sense?
Okay.
It's kind of like if you think about like bride kidnapping being faked versus real, right? Like two young people in a less well-developed society fall in love, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to go steal my girlfriend," and "Oh no, don't take me! Oh, please take me!" Great. There are people, because I see the posts on Reddit of women who want this, and it's actually they're not the ones whose psychology I'm so much worried about. It's their nice guy boyfriends, partners, or husbands who've been internalized this idea that hurting women is bad, violating people's consent is bad, like being aggressive, attacking people is bad, and their partner is asking them to do that. And sometimes, they talk it out, they plan it out. It's all, very consensual. But have heard stories where, like, it's broken him. Okay. Because he feels so terrible afterwards of how he acted, even if it was a role play, even if, there were safe words involved.
Yeah, there's emotions involved in all of it, yeah.
Yeah, because if you pretend to break into your own house and attack your own girlfriend and do whatever her fantasy involves, if you're not 100% bought in, you're violating a lot of your own internal norms and who you think you are as a person.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I'm honestly, like, when it comes to CNC, it's not the person who wants the CNC I'm more worried about. It's the person who they're talking, if there's someone that's a partner that they want to convince that this is okay, and their partner is hesitant, that's the person. Yeah. And it's usually the heterosexual man in this case, from the ones I've seen, again, on it. And that have had more emotional damage afterwards.
Yeah, it's. I mean, the argument the woman's making in this image is is sort of fucked up. It sort of reminds me to a degree of, like, how they'll homophobes will say, like, oh, gay marriage ruins the institution of marriage or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, well, hang on. So other people you don't know and never met and never going to meet, them getting married in a ceremony you will never know existed, affects your marriage.
Yes.
How? Please join those dots for me. I'm not sure that works, really, friend. If you don't want to get gay married, don't. That's fine. Mm-hmm. It is legal, not compulsory. And it kind of there's a similar dynamic here in play, Albeit that I guess at least the wariness of violence in sexual situations is more understandable, because, like, the Christians in that, or the homophobes in that situation, have not had anything bad happen to them for them to hate gay people, whereas sexual assault victims have had something bad happen to them that might, make them react in a negative and irrational way.
Yeah. But I mean, for people, just to, like, because there's someone says that they're kind of into CNC, and so I just want to say, like, it's consensual non-consent. Like, it's kind of a role play, right? And again, it's this idea of you give up responsibility because you're being made to do something that it's beyond your control.
Yeah.
And that is, again, for some people find that quite liberating, and if they find it quite hot, but they're not going out on a Friday night and, like, walking down dark alleys because they want to be attacked. That's not the situation. They're not trying to normalize violence against themselves, right? This is with someone they know in a context that's controlled, and it's a scene that's played out. So it's very different. I think, maybe from the outside, if someone were to walk in, they couldn't tell.
Yeah.
But that's why you do the consent stuff beforehand, and you get the consent and you negotiate everything, and you have safe words.
But again, it's people aren't walking in. It's a private act between.
Yeah, exactly. They're just judging it from the
people.
outside. Yeah.
Indeed.
Use of women. It makes people think that it's normal within relationships to do things like impact play, like hit women, degrade them, say mean things, like in degradation play, humiliation play, or strangulation. It makes them think that these are normal, expected parts of a relationship, and then thus normalizes the abuse of women.
Can we also
the thing is, the kink weirdos are not the problem.
I mean, a lot of times, at least from, again, I don't want to say my experience on Reddit is 100% of what I see on kink, but when people talk about being humiliated or degraded in play, this is an adult channel, so I'll just say things. It's saying something like, "Oh, you're my beautiful little whore," or
thank you.
You're such a pretty little slut, or they can talk about describing body parts in certain ways that are a bit on the dirtier side or the degrading side. And again, it's that I'm not a
your
I'm
penis
not
is very dusty.
Yeah, it can also be small penis mocking, right? So, but there are also, like, people who say I have boundaries and limits. So you can call me a slut and a whore and a cum bucket, but do not comment on my weight. I don't want. That doesn't make me feel good. That makes me feel bad, right? And again, these are negotiated, ideally, in ethical kink. That ethical kink would negotiate these things beforehand, so you know what things that your partner wants to hear and what things will actually make them feel really bad about themselves and hurt their feelings and ruin the fun you're trying to have. So also, I think it's there are a lot of motivations. The thing about kink is that it's much as much about sex, it's about psychology, and it's about how someone wants to feel in a moment. And that's, I think, again, makes it a little bit different from vanilla sex, which is quite physical, but not as in psychologically driven. It might be emotionally connected and driven, but if you want to feel, if you're like a 6 foot tall guy who lifts weights, drinks beer, and watches the football, but what you really want is for like to feel like a small kitten, and for this, like a woman to like power, like dominate over you and treat you like a small precious kitten, so that you can feel vulnerable and loved and precious. That's more of an emotional, psychological fulfillment that kink allows you to enact, rather than simply not say simply, but not just the sexual gratification that goes along with that psychology.
True.
So.
Thank you to It's the Morton for gigantifying 3 emotes. Much love. And thank you to Kreya van Berg which is a delightfully Dutch name. I don't know if you are Dutch, but with 5 gifted memberships on the YouTubes. Much love to you.
Can I answer a question from my rear end? I think slightly ironic, but also worth bringing up. Are there difficulty levels in kink? I would say that there is very intro and easy things that you can do.
Christy's playing on expert mode. Don't even fucking try that
no. But I mean, it depends on what you mean by difficulty. To do proper rope work, or if you were to want to do a like shibari in particular, that's a very technical kink that, as a rigger, which is the person who does the... Is
that rigger with a hard R?
Yes. Very hard R at the end. Okay. You have to master those skills before you can tie someone up, and you always need safety shears, right? Wow. In the Reddit that I'm on, I completely agree with this. Is whenever someone talks about being choked by their partner, we immediately go, this is really dangerous, especially when people see it on porn and then they try to recreate it in their sex lives. Sometimes in vanilla sex, they'll just start choking their partner without even asking, and you don't know what that person has been through. It's terrible. Right, this is why negotiations beforehand is so important. But there's a general dissuading people from choking other people, because you can cause various health elements from that. Now, I mean, I don't want to put anybody, if someone's like, I feel fine with my partner and we know how to choke safely, but choking is, I would definitely put that as edgier. I would probably even put that past like knife play and blood play and needle play. Ooh, because someone might want to be like cutting, it might again a little bit, that's pretty edge play. Anything to do with bodily fluids that aren't coming out of a genital or a mouth is probably more considered edge play. So yeah, I would definitely say that.
What about butt liquid?
Yeah, that's would be considered edge play. Yeah, like pooping on people is edgier spectrum of kink. It requires a bit more in terms of the hygiene side and considerations of stuff, so it gets more complicated health wise. So yes, I would say if you're looking at just like light bondage, restraints, blindfolding, maybe some spanking, that's pretty safe to do, without a whole lot of training. But definitely you don't just grab somebody's neck and start squeezing. 100% do not do that.
Yeah, pretty much. Also, I mean, this is part of the problem. The one thing I think that people's over-reliance on pornography at times gives them a pretty false indication of the way in which sex usually takes place.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot more aggressive, it's a lot more kinky,
showing off. It's made for the camera, right?
Well, exactly,
so the angles, the way you they're constantly pulling hair out of the way so that you can see things, which doesn't necessarily, and like doing on the side and the way you position your legs, or
they've got very, very good hips.
Yes.
Like, how are you spreading your legs that far all the time? Like, you've got a full man and a massive cock and enough space for a camera to see.
Someone pointed out that when men do missionary position, they're just twerking.
Pretty much, yeah. Actually, to be fair, because you're just sort of clenching your arse cheeks, basically.
Yeah.
And then unclenching, then clenching, then unclenching, then clenching, and that rhythmic thing is enough. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Anyway, so that's just imagine that.
Here. The big issue is that we don't teach kids what is normal and healthy in a relationship. When we do teach kids what's normal and healthy in a relationship, we show them abusive dynamics.
Even the act of making porn is a kink. Is that true? What about if it's vanilla porn?
Exhibitionism as a kink?
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, Sib, thank you. There's no safe way to choke someone, 100%. Thank you for just being straight up with it. Yeah, I mean, exhibitionism, is a kink, and that could also take the form of, making videos to be shared on Reddit, which I've seen some of them, some with faces included, some people wearing masks, some, just from, like, the neck down or whatever. But
with me showing my nipple on the camera, does that count? Have I done a kink tonight?
I think that you're just enticing your pay pigs to oink oink up.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, technically, it's a sort of prostitution. I did elicit £2 to show a nip.
There you go.
It's the thin end of the wedge, so to speak. But yeah.
Yeah, 2 nips is 4. A shirt off is 10. Then you're gonna be like flexing.
Hang on, are you now doing a pimp thing? You're giving me a price list. God damn. Okay, it's very strange. The dynamic has changed on this channel.
We show them abusive power dynamics, like the man being the head of the household, being in charge. His word goes. He's the head of the household. He's at the top of the hierarchy, and the woman is subservient to him. And the children are subservient to her. No one has any power. The man is in charge, which is an inherently abusive dynamic, having one person have all the power. The kinksters...
True, but this is, I mean, the extreme feminists who've argued that all penis in vagina sex is rape.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the power dynamic means you can't possibly consent, so it's all right. And you're just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
There are enough men out there who actually want, you've probably not heard this term, FLR?
No, what's that?
Female-led relationships.
What, when women fuck lead?
No, you're just in charge, like...
No, lead as in like the metal.
LED. No, not as it. Well, I mean, it could be metal. But no, it just means like, look, I want to be in a relationship where the woman is in charge. I want her to like make the decisions and play that role of decider, as it were.
Okay, yeah, that's fair enough. I've never heard it called that, but I know people who are in relationships like that, where definitely like. I mean, it's rather derogatory, like, oh, the woman wears the trousers. It's a lot of bollocks, right? But like, that dynamic is there. Mm-hmm. I've known people like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an FLR.
Yeah, okay. Well, I didn't even know there was a term for it. There you go.
Every day's a school day.
Yeah.
Don't need to normalize abuse, and in fact, they can't normalize abuse because abuse is already normal in our society. I don't know if you've noticed this, but men get away with abusing women all the time.
Yep.
Their wives, their girlfriends, all the time. And not just their wives and girlfriends.
Exactly. If they wanted to abuse women, they wouldn't necessarily get into kink. They could just become a police officer.
Yeah.
Be fine.
Exactly. They could just go to a church and demand that they want to have like a Christian marriage.
Yeah,
and
just
then they get all the power and no responsibility. They're never. No accountability.
Yeah. Look, you just have to start speaking in tongues, become a pastor. You get invited to the White House. It's fine. Did you see that, them speaking in tongues on the White House? Well, not lawn, car park, I guess, parking lot. Yeah. And I'm just like, at the same time they're going, oh, the Iranians are run by religious extremists. And they've literally got people doing a fucking sermon in tongues. I'm like, oh, God almighty. Didn't America used to have, like, wasn't science held up as, like, a good thing in America once?
I mean,
or am I rose-tinted glasses?
I think you're rose-tinted and glassing it a little bit, yeah. I mean, there's always been that element that's been pro-science, pro-human rights, but it's just one part of a sadly fascistic society.
Yeah.
Random women, employees, they get away with sexually harassing their female employees all the time. And when victims speak up about sexual harassment in the workplace, the media supports the abuser.
Mm-hmm.
The media says, this woman is evil and causing a stink. The man is the real victim. The media and people pretend that a young woman in her 20s was abusing her much older, much more powerful husband because she's an evil, conniving cunt. And this old man with a history of being unhinged and shitty is actually a real perfect victim. Because look how unlikable this woman is. Football players don't lose their careers for abusing their wives and girlfriends in public.
Fucking Chris Brown sold out Wembley Stadium this week.
Yep.
Literally beat the shit out of Rihanna. He's a domestic abuser with many credible accounts of assault and sexual abuse.
Yep, doesn't matter.
Didn't make any difference.
Well, I mean, Donald Trump is a rapist.
Yep, yeah, exactly.
Look at his cabinet. Like
full of rapists, yeah.
Rudy Giuliani is back. You see that? He's on some sort of domestic homeland security board now.
I thought he was dead. Didn't someone kill him with a tap on the back?
Yeah, you fell over.
Yeah.
Yo, no, you touched me, I'm dead.
Yeah. Fair enough.
People can still sell tons of albums after publicly abusing their girlfriends. No one cares. No one does anything. Half the time, the cops don't even show up if you call them, which you probably shouldn't. There is no normalizing abuse. Abuse is normal. Abuse is the norm in our society. And the idea of setting back women by sexualizing yourself or talking about topics like abuse and shitty relationships is just patently...
What size are your feet? Bites lip, ooh woo oink. Well, I don't know what they are in American, but I'm a 12/13 in British.
Ooh.
What's that in
Say
American?
about, no idea. I'll have to look it up.
It was so UK to US shoe size, I guess, rather than feet size, but yeah.
Your feet size. That'd be cute.
A men's feet shoe size is generally one size smaller than its US equivalent. So I'm a 13/14 in America.
Big boy.
They are big. I do have big feet. I've been a bit shortchanged in the cock, though. Look, not desperately bad. Don't get me wrong, but like, also
If I pull hard enough.
Exactly. If I pull exactly, you have to take an X-ray. My dad, God bless him, has the biggest cock. It's ridiculous. He's hung like a fucking stallion, and I can't help but feel I took after my mum in this one. Shame.
Ridiculous. These same accusations were launched at Dolly Parton for her bimbo aesthetic. They were like, you're setting women back by doing this bimbo look, by making us all seem like bimbos. She wasn't doing that. She was making herself seem like a bimbo. Same with Britney Spears and every female rapper. Every woman in public life is always setting women back somehow. Being a public woman is bad.
And it's always the women being criticised, and not like, let's say this is true. Let's say that Sabrina Carpenter is being toxic and playing into stereotypes and hurting women. It's the men who engage in that are actually the problem, though. The people being abused are the women.
Yep.
So even if she's like an abused person reifying that abuse, she's an abuse victim.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that it's fucking played up nonsense and she's just doing a fucking photo shoot for an album is neither here nor there.
Well,
For women,
they
I guess.
aren't interested in, it's sort of like, I guess, the author is dead kind of thing. Like, they don't really take into account what she is trying to convey. Instead, they impose their own interpretation on it in order to, in this case, make a political statement about how, I guess, women are bad.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, yeah. It's the women can never win, basically, yeah. So 255 says, so you've got a vagina. Well, no, but that's the sort of the joke I'm doing, is that my dad's got a big dick, which is actually true. I'm not like, that isn't part of the joke. But I take after my mother. It's a joke, meaning I've got a tiny cock. I'm doing a small cock joke about myself. Anyway, doesn't matter. Yes. But Kev, only women have agency. True, unless in case where they don't have any agency. They either have 100% agency or no agency. That is it.
Some of these same people state that Blake Lively is setting back women by making credible accusations of workplace sexual harassment and labor violations, including not being given adequate time to breastfeed her infants, which is a protected right under California law. And in my opinion, based on evidence and fact, he definitely did that. He definitely did that. So fucking obvious. The most obvious sexual harassment case I've ever seen in my fucking life. And yet the media cycle is like, Blake Lively is evil and harming women.
What's worrying about me knowing how big my dad's dick is? I've been to we go to the football together, and I was stood next to him at the urinal for 30 fucking years.
Yeah,
I've seen his dick. I've never seen it on the lob, but if it grows at all, it's fucking monstrous. Anyway, sorry.
How? That's because they believe that women should quietly inhabit a second sphere, a separate private sphere out of public life. And if women are in public outside of their safe female space, it's their fault if something bad happens to them because they left the separate sphere and entered the public sphere of maleness and corruption, and therefore anything that happens to them outside of this domestic private sphere where they belong is their fault. It wouldn't have happened if you'd known your place. I mean, stayed in the safe female space, away from these evil biological males.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. These same people criticizing...
I'd love 8DX, man. You're a lunatic. God bless you. Every human being has a DNA to process both/either body parts. Just only one primary developmental pathway is taken before birth. So you can literally have the other parent's sex parts and non-expressed attributes.
Well, we all start off with the feminine
So
stuff.
I've got my mum's dick. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Well, you started off as a girl, and then you were warped
Literally-
and twisted into a deformed sub-version of the female form, which
Well-
is the true form.
Well, I
that
mean,
nature
in a
gives
very
us.
literal sense, the man is an incomplete woman. Yes, that is
Yeah.
literally true. You stop developing.
You're ruined by
womb and
testosterone
blah, blah,
or
blah.
whatever.
But that's
starts
why.
being Bruce, yeah.
Hang on, going back to you can give me $2 to show you. That's why men have nipples, because you
Yep.
start off developing as a lady, well, a girl fetus, and then you stop and become a dude.
Well, your ovaries are your testes. They just dropped, right?
Did they? What?
I mean, it would be. I would assume that what should have been your ovaries became your testes.
Yes. Yeah. Because you stopped getting soaked in
The estrogens or whatever.
estrogens, yeah.
Yes. Oh yes,
Which
you
is
say
fair.
estrogens. Estrogen.
And again, this is all like just biological stuff. It's got nothing to do with gender. So when
Yeah,
I
it's
say
just-
when I say boy and girl, it's just dick and pussy is basically what you're discussing, you know.
Yeah.
Which isn't the same thing. Turfs.
Sex organs.
Yeah.
Sabrina Carpenter, for setting back women, were part of the media cycle calling Amber Heard an evil cunt for coming out in an op-ed.
Women have a prostate. It's just smaller and called the Skenny's gland because sexism. I didn't know that. Okay. What I did know is that every part of the women of a traditionally females' reproductive organs that's named after a person is named after a man.
Yeah.
So.
Are those the fallopian tubes?
Yep.
And calling herself a victim of abuse.
And the Dave walls.
Which, by the way, was what that whole case was about. She didn't even name him in the article. She just called herself a victim of abuse, a survivor of abuse. That was what that entire case was about. A woman can't call herself a survivor of abuse, even though it definitely happened. He definitely did that. All the evidence is there. Fucking obviously. I think if anything, social media trends like "I'm just a girl" are setting back women, and this idea of creating separate but equal women's spaces, where women, of course, women can't participate in this thing with men. Of course, women are too weak and stupid to compete.
Who is the clit named after? It's actually named after Clint Orris, but it was just a typo. It was a shame. Clinton Orris, one of the great biologists
Medical,
of his,
yeah, medical
the
teams.
early 20th century. Yeah.
And they found it.
They did. They did
Yeah.
discover it. What a legend. It was hidden under all sorts. It was crazy. Like, that's what I don't get. It's not like, it's really not discreet.
No, it will
particularly.
swell. Like it will,
It's like
puff
it's
up a little bit.
And it's not like located differently. It's not like a fucking, you have to follow a treasure map.
Yeah, it's not like G-spot. G-spot takes some work to find.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, and it's in the dark.
Yeah,
which is not
that
helpful.
is literally in the dark.
Whereas the Clueless, it's all like it's right
On
there.
the outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah.
Little man in the boat.
True.
Was it the South
Compete
Park?
with men, and
Look for the man in the boat.
The little pearl in the oyster.
Yeah.
they've got to be shoved off into their own separate but equal spaces. If anything, those ideas are setting back women, more than women actually inhabiting the public sphere and credibly accusing bad men of doing the bad things that they credibly did. That stuff is setting back women, not a single pop star who makes lewd jokes making a reference to being treated like a dog by men. Like, that's her reality. She's talking about her lived experiences. Talking about bad things that happen to you is harming feminism, actually. Shut the fuck up and get out of public life. That's what's good for women. Knowing your place is what's good for women. That's how y'all sound. That's what y'all sound like right now. What people don't like about Sabrina Carpenter is that she's horny on main, she's owning her own sexuality, and she's in charge. Which is what people also...
I don't like that she's encouraging French things. The Eiffel Tower, it's the Blackpool Tower, but shit. What it is.
also don't like about kink a lot of the time is that people in kink, using the risk-aware consensual kink or RAC model, are in charge of what happens during this experience. The woman, the sub, the dom, everyone involved has the right to say no and stop the scene at any time.
Yep.
They have a say in what happens to them.
Yep.
They negotiate the experience that they're willing to have beforehand, and they own their own sexuality and their own sexual experiences. And it turns out that people don't like it when women are in charge of their own sexuality. They don't like that, which is one of the reasons we're much more likely to side with a male abuser than with a female.
Well, I mean, that was Jordan Peterson's argument when he was talking to during his first term, the son of the president, Donald Trump Jr., and going on about was it basically being the death of Western civilization was the invention of the pill.
Yeah.
Because
Somehow,
it allowed
yeah.
it allowed women's power over their own sexuality, and therefore meant that the West was going to fall. Which is like, I mean, okay, well, the West deserves to fall then.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, good. I'm glad. Awesome.
If women being basically sort of slaves to their reproduction is the only way that you think society should be constructed, your society is garbage.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it's built on subjugation and loss of autonomy, it's garbage.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
Male victim. And I do get why this could have been triggering for some people. With the rise in male violence against women, with the circulation of very violent content, sometimes against like famous women. We've seen videos of somewhat famous women being physically abused in public.
Is horny on main and mainstream a standard phrase and can be something on main for anything else? Yeah, it's like it's young people talk. It just means doing it in kind of the open, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like I think in theory it comes from the idea of doing it on your main account, your public-facing account, or having a burner where you do weird shit.
Okay.
So yeah, so doing something
not on main street, as it were.
Yeah.
But that stuff is already normalized. Sabrina Carpenter cannot normalize the abuse of women because the abuse of women is already normal. And if anything, the right-wing misogyny slop media ecosystem is just even further normalizing it, if that is even possible. Which, frankly, how could it be? Things are
They're
so
not
bad.
even normalizing it; they're promoting it.
Yeah. They're preaching it.
Yeah.
Already. No, a horny pop star singing songs about men treating her badly and how she's attracted to man children is not causing these problems. It's not even exacerbating these problems. It's discussing these problems.
Yeah.
Sabrina Carpenter is just discussing how things are within this work. She's talking about the way that men treat her and doing a little bit of heterofatalism, which is fine. It's fine to do a little bit of heterofatalism if that's your experience, I guess. This is a moral panic, and it's to punish women for appearing in public life at all and discussing the negative things that happen to them and discussing their sexuality. It's to punish women for being sexual beings in public or existing.
All of this mucky talk has left me with the right panhandle.
Okay.
Well, you should give me money for making you erect. Is all I'll say. I mean, it's mainly Christy, I imagine, because she's dirty.
But in the good way.
Yeah.
I think by the end of her videos, I generally find she just kind of starts to repeat herself. That's why I think her editing could be a bit
Oh, you've
tighter,
watched
but-
this person before?
Yeah, we watched one other video from her.
Did we? Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, that's okay.
Listening
'cause
in
we don't
public.
remember a lot of things.
Yeah, no, I'm terrible.
We see this all the time. There's this constant backlash to women who exist in public life. And that's to try to push them back into this separate spheres ideology, where women are pushed out of public life. They don't have any public power. They're invisible. They have no power, no say, nothing. They're hidden from public life and forced back into domestic slavery, essentially. And we're using feminist language to do this. We're using feminist language to push...
money playing. You don't have to. If you've got no money, that's absolutely fine. Yeah. I did that yesterday. I said, someone said something like, I only ever hear about cricket on your channel. And I said, oh, you should subscribe to me then for showing you the path of righteousness or some shit. And they did. And I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, I was joking. I mean, you always can. I'm not turning it down. I'm just saying you don't need to. It's cool. Only ever give money that you can afford not to have. Yeah.
Separate spheres ideology and purity culture, where a woman has to be pure and not show anything in public. Women shouldn't be participating in public life at all. If they do, it's their fault when something bad happens to them. If they're discussing their sexuality on main, that's bad and impure and harming women, because women's purity is the thing that matters more than...
Thank you, Phil, who gives the 100 bits, who says, never heard dirty said in such a dirty way. Dirty.
their ability to participate in public life and own their own sexuality. Samuel Delaney talked about this in his book, Times Square Red, Times Square Blue. He said that...
That's a great example, Miss Haya, yeah. Sorry, I'm pausing a lot, apologies. people praised Prince for being sexy, but Madonna was seen as cheap for doing the same thing. Exactly.
Yeah.
Prince made songs about fingering and stuff. Like, the motherfucker was literally as horny as it gets, and then became a weird Christian at the end. Mad. Anyway, whereas Madonna, she had cone tits.
Yeah.
That's going to destroy people's society. Like, fucking hell, shut up. God almighty.
Public sexuality of women doesn't harm women. It harms our idea of women as these pure beings. And in order to actually liberate women, we must destroy the idea of women. This idea we have of women as these pure beings. We must destroy that ideology in order to protect actual women who exist in material reality. Ideology is the thing that has to be destroyed, not women's participation in public life. Get behind me, Sabrina Carpenter. I'll defend a horny straight woman, because I don't know if you've noticed, but more and more, all female sexuality is starting to be regarded as deviant and wrong and abhorrent, and as something that must...
Well, yeah, basically. Yeah. Why did you change costume?
No idea.
Fair play.
Must be corrected and tamed. Female sexuality, especially women who are horny on main, is being seen as deviant and dangerous in a way that we cannot let happen. We cannot go back to this purity culture bullshit of women being these pure, chaste beings who must be protected from male corruption.
255, that's not how that works. He said, I'm the only man in my family who doesn't like cricket, so I reckon I basically know what it was like to grow up queer. That's not how, that isn't what that is. Jesus.
Reality.
God bless you, 255.
And we cannot let these moral panics blame women for the bad things that happened to them, because what were they doing there? She shouldn't have been so horny on main. We cannot let this ideology keep breaking into the mainstream. Right-wingers view the normal sexual state of a woman as this chaste, pure being, and all sexuality is something that happens to her. They view the normal sexual experience of a heterosexual woman as rape and coercion. That's the normal way that a woman experiences sex to them. Any sexual experience they seek out or want is abhorrent and wrong, deviant, kind of the same way they view our sexualities. Sabrina Carpenter didn't cause that. Sabrina Carpenter is a victim of this growing mentality that female sexuality is wrong and bad, and that women are only victims who must be protected from male sexuality by being pushed out of public life. And even the heterosexuals are not immune from the dangerous effects of this ideology. So in conclusion, leave horny women alone. Let her be horny.
Yeah.
Stop it. You're being weird.
I think that, I agree with a lot of her points. One thing I would say is that this isn't new.
No.
I think people tend to have a recency bias and think that somehow things were better. If anything, things are much better now than they were like in the 70s or the 80s and the 90s when I was growing up. And that was an improvement on how things were in the 60s and 50s. So I think what it is there's a constant current of this Christian fundamentalist, moralist, moral panic portion of society that basically profits off of this kind of stuff. They sell this as sermons and they pass around the whatever communion basket or whatever, and they fund their jets and their second homes and their lifestyles off of demonizing women. And honestly, Christianity has done this for its entire history, going all the way back to like the earliest people who were men who were considered saints. People who blamed Eve for childbirth and the pain of childbirth, and that's our punishment because of Eve's sin. Women have always been, definitely in Western European and I'm sure Eastern Europe culture, have been presented as temptresses who are trying to lead men into sin by their mere existence. Having arms or having ankles, having breasts all has to be covered up because women are basically always leading men into sin.
True.
So, other than that's a kind of recency bias, I think that was a really good video.
Yeah. Indeed, yes. Oh, God, we're on a fucking hype train.
Choo-choo. I have to pee. I've had to pee for about 20 minutes now. So
Go for it.
All right, you talk.
Will do.
I will finally get, yes.
Yes.
Stretch my legs, too. It's better,
Well,
by the way.
you've been gifted a sub by Wayward Historian.
Oh, thanks.
Well, I'm sure I banned Rolling Left ages ago. What's going on here?
All right, BRB.
Cool. Yeah, we're on a hype train. If we get to level 2 of the hype train, I will finger. I don't know. Who's dead? Hope. Communion basket. Yeah, I know. She's a lapsed Catholic. Oh, terrible. Hello, everyone. No, I didn't use ChatGPT. This is an image that was literally posted, unironically, by a conservative. And I just thought it was hilarious, so I thought I'll go with it. I especially love on Mamdani's shirt, Communism MSR. Wow, ChatGPT is perfect, isn't it? He's also got a fucking pole sticking out of his shoulder. I just noticed. There you go. Yeah, so there's that. And you know I can't go when we're on a hype train. You know that's the rules. So literally fuck off. Cricket repulsed as a new sexuality. No. I have to pee. No, I think she mean I've had to pee, as in like I've needed to pee for 20 minutes. Not that she was going to go and piss for 20 minutes, which would just be she had the bladder of several large animals or something. I don't know. Shirt with integrated pole, pretty nice unprocessed. Actually, that would be helpful, yeah. Sort of already sort of tucked in. To be fair, I don't know any Catholics under 70 that aren't lapsed or dead. I mean, there are plenty, I suppose. Yeah. Finger Mary Whitehouse. Well, no, we're not doing that because Christie's on the show, isn't she? So we need to be polite. Is polite the word?
Back.
I don't know. Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm gonna tentatively try and raid out and hope that the
you know what? When it gets to be this late in the show, that I realized when I was walking away from when I walked away from Mike that at this point in the show, it's not a hype train; it's a spite train.
Basically, yes.
Yeah, they don't want you to go. They want to spend more time with Daddy.
There is nobody going on YouTube, so basically, if you're on YouTube, peace. Just go wherever you fancy.
Go, yes.
Go in peace to love and serve your Lord.
Exactly. Yeah, whoever that Lord might be, or you're dumb.
Or you're dumb, or just in general, really.
Yeah.
Hey, we're off the hype train. Fuck yes.
All right.
Let's go. By which I mean, let's go to another channel. Who shall I send everyone over to? Oh, the Young Turks are going. Lol. Although we did see the bonus hole the other day being good on Israel on Piers Morgan's show, which was refreshing.
Which bonus
Anna Kasparian. You know, she freaked out about being called a birthing person and a bonus hole or whatever. So I just refer to her as the bonus hole now.
Okay.
Because fuck her. Piece of shit. I'll send you over to... James from the internet. I haven't been over there in a while. Anyway... she's sleepy.
Sleepy
girl.
She's
EP,
I was
baby.
at the gym today. I lifted heavy things and I put them back down again.
Are you EP?
I am an EP girl.
You are EP.
EP girl.
We've done too much kink tonight. Let's not do sleep play. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
That might be my kink. Nap play, which is just two people sleeping. Anyway, what have you got coming up on your channel, Krista?
I guess we got some D&D coming up as usual, and once I get over this campaign, I want to start on a new series. But before I can start something new, I need to clear.
Do you go on? Is it still on Rolling Left?
Yeah, it's still on Rolling Left.
Good.
Go check that out. You can go caught up, or you could just join us on Sunday evening if you're.
I don't even pop in if I see you live now because you don't respond. I type penis and all sorts. And it's nothing.
Sid probably sees it, but I'm too busy running the sessions to look at the chat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, look, if I'm not going to get a rise out of you,
you're not going to get a hard penis.
Exactly. Yes. Anyway, I'll be back probably tomorrow, I think, but I can't guarantee anything. I might just go and get very drunk in the sun. Yes. It's goodbye from me and goodbye from Christy.